What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely all join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do, no, not on the shape of the Earth, on the nature of Earth. If you do join the panel, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Flatzoid and 10th Man in the Google Hangout. How are you both doing?
Wonderful. Good morning to all.
Good morning, good morning. We've also got a few people in the Discord server.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Take them off mute though. Hello, Flatzoid. Also got, is it Dougie in the Discord server? Just unmute him. Bear with me just 1 second while I unmute our only Discord participant. I know, there's also Force, who is already unmuted, I presume, a moderator. I don't know, I know so little about this server. Right, we're all set. Hello, everybody.
Hello, I can't hear you on here, Nathan.
You can't hear me?
Discord.
You can't hear me?
I think you're muted.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you can hear us. Or...
There you go. Just don't... Yeah, you just will get feedback if you stay in the... There you go. All sorted. Well done. Thank you for letting me know. Can you be heard clear? Can I be heard clearly in the Discord server now, Spurs?
Can now, yeah, excellent. Yeah.
Excellent. Right, who wants to kick off some housekeeping questions?
Any signs of Earth curvature? No, guess not.
You can go.
I said it. Any signs of Earth curvature?
None here whatsoever.
All right, take the next one, Flatzoid.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No, no scientific evidence.
Any axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Still waiting for that one. I don't think so. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth? How about that one?
No, still nothing that side, sorry.
This is what they told me growing up. All these things were true. Why is it so hard?
You just didn't listen.
Any evidence for the distance of the sun?
No.
No apparent distance. Any evidence of the R value?
R presupposed.
You listening up for the last one, Spurs?
Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the antecedent of a container to press upon?
Oh. Yeah. But I suppose it's about perspective and how you look at these things. Water. You're asking, can water conform to the exterior of an object?
No, that's not what he asked.
They say ice.
That's not what he
Ice
asked.
is water.
That's not what he asked. You're about to answer a different question. Do you want to repeat the question, 10th Man?
Yes. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the antecedent of a container to press upon?
Simple. No.
Again, this is why I say it's perspective, right? Because an ice cube is low pressure,
The solid.
and it doesn't have a container.
That's not what he's asking either. He's not asking for antecedents for solids or liquids. Gases.
Yeah, we're not
Okay,
talking
well-
about phase transitions, as yesterday we touched on that subject, I believe.
Okay, then let's just go with no. Let's go with no.
Okay, well that concludes the
I do say it's
housekeeping.
about perspective, and
It's not perspective. Objects becoming smaller in the distance / how to view a certain circumstance. That's perspective. Not phase transitions and gas pressure without containers. That's something totally different, sorry.
It could be opinions, but not perspective.
So,
you know, I kind of think this idea about. Have you finished, Nathan?
I was just going to say, no offence to you, Spurs. Do we have to do this again?
No, we don't. We don't actually.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. It's a hot day. Is it hot?
And it's freezing.
Did you hear the thunderstorm last night?
Tried to film it. So I set my phone up, 240 frames per second, pointed it directly at thunder flashes that looked amazing, full on fork lightning, directly above the sky where I was pointing at. I thought it was going to be great. Go back and review the footage. Nothing. It just didn't show up. You're like, what is the point of having a bloody slow motion camera?
Yeah.
You have to catch it at the right time, otherwise it doesn't work.
At the right time, it was pointing at
amazing.
a great big lightning flash that filled the entire sky. And I was like, awesome. That'll definitely look good in slow motion. I'll get a still out of that. Nope. What a waste of 2
Better
hours.
to take a fast burst and just slow it down.
Maybe it just needs more than 240 frames per second, but I could have swore I'd caught... maybe I'm wrong and I'm just imagining it, but I could have swore I'd caught slow motion pictures of lightning in the past. Maybe I'm just imagining it, but maybe a phone just isn't fast enough to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's something to do with the aperture or something.
Maybe. Or the frame rate. Who knows? I don't know. All I know is I spent 2 hours pissing around in that lightning storm going, yeah, this will be ace. And then reviewing it after the storm had passed and going, oh, wonderful. Nothing. Literally nothing. I'll delete all of those then.
Did you guys catch Phuket's latest satire video?
No, I've not seen it. Tell
Oh
me more.
my God. I saw it this morning. It's very short. It's very cool. And I was busting up.
You'll have to tell us more than that.
Well, he's got interior video of a cruise ship tilting as the waves in the ocean are causing the ship to have a slight tilt. So he's talking about the 23-degree tilt of the Earth.
Oh, is it a parody?
I don't want to give it away. It's too funny.
Okay, it's a parody. No worries. I've got it. No, don't spoil it for me or the audience.
Oh, it's
We've got
classic.
a link. Can you grab
Hi,
us a link?
Paul.
Hello.
Hello, Paul.
I've already been into it with some Globers on the live stream already this morning over the scientific method, which is kind of hilarious.
In the live stream, which one? The Discord?
In Discord. I posted an article that actually talked about the scientific method and adjusting. You know, you have to do the independent variable and where observation is not. You know, it actually says all the things we've been saying about observation is not a valid way of understanding causation. And then had this guy named Mr. Giggles and Truth Lover are basically trying to nail me to the wall over it. I'm using the guys. If you put your hand up in front of your eyes and you can't see, what's the cause of that? I'm going like, really? Are you kidding me? It's just funny. You can go under and...
Yeah, man, get on it. You better science that immediately.
Yeah, I know. They're saying that then I mean, I just posted the article because I thought it was good, and it talks about the scientific method trying to determine causes. It actually talks about determining cause and effect, and they're going after me over it.
It's a great.
It's hilarious. You can go.
Yeah, it's a great article.
Oh, you
I
read
haven't
it?
shared it. Yeah, I've already shared it as well. It's actually very good.
Yeah. And you can click on the links. Like if you go, when you start on it, it actually talks about, like, if you want to understand what an experiment is, you click on the link and it tells you what you have to do in an experiment, conducting an experiment, what a true experiment is, what observational research is, and you have to manipulate the independent variable. Then you click on the independent variable and it tells you what the independent variable is. It's actually a pretty good, source, but it walks you through the whole process, defining the terms and explaining the terms.
It goes in great detail.
Yeah, it's really good. I'll post it in the Skype and on the side chat in Google.
Hey, Arwin.
Hello.
Hello, Arwin.
Shout out to flatearthchannel.com. Says good morning from Toronto, Canada. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Really appreciate your support, flatearthchannel.com.
Actually, you know what? I think I may have I'd already put it in the Master B. It's already in Master B. I don't know if I was telling 10th Man about this yesterday. I actually got, in the Discord, them to admit that they're really not concerned about the cause. It's all about modeling and prediction. That's all it's about.
It's all fallacy. So it's all fallacy, actually.
Hey, Paul, just put up that screenshot for Nathan to see, because it mirrors exactly what he says to them. If y equals p, and then p equals x, then x proves y. I mean, it's just classic how they think.
Yeah, here I can't do it. Let's see. I have to share my screen, so bear with me. It's actually not going to let me. Hang on a second. Let me try something different here. For some reason, it won't let me share Skype. Yeah, it's not going to let me share Skype for some reason.
Oh, Nathan,
it
looks
doesn't
so nice
for some
and fresh.
reason. No, that's a real bummer. It's a pain in my ass, that is, not being able to share Skype in the Hangout.
I know. Well, I can't even share my screen to show it. But if you, it's actually in Discord. Hang on, let me see.
No, just keep it on this image. It looks so nice and fresh.
It does in this hot weather. Just share your whole screen and stick whatever it is on Skype, and that's the only way to do it, really.
I mean, well, actually, it won't let me do that either for some reason.
Really? Wow.
I know it's being a pain in the butt today. Let me see if I can get it into a different place and go from there. And say, bear with me just a second.
Why don't you just repost it on Master B so Nathan can just go to the last one and just pull it from there?
I actually know how to do that. Whenever I go to look at something that someone's just posted in Discord, I can't find the go to latest post button. I don't know where it is.
Just post it in Skype and I'll present it.
Well, it's in Master B. So if you go,
which one?
Let me think. Let me see where it's at. Chocolate posted a video on Tuesday at 12:53, and it's before that.
Better solar filter does not accurately depict the sun?
No.
Okay.
It's a screen capture of the Discord server.
Okay.
And it's I just closed it myself here.
You know what? You can look at as I'm presenting my Skype, and you can pick it up when I'm there. Right.
Do you understand what he's doing, Paul? He's
yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Go back down. I don't think it's that far back. Go back down.
Oh, this
one.
there
it is, right there. That one, yeah. That's it. I actually asked him.
Are you presenting this, yeah?
Yeah, he's Erwin is, yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, you're up.
He says, I said, so you aren't really concerned about causes, just making predictions and modeling. And then he says, Truth says, well, the model attempts to describe what the cause relationship is in its formation. Then he goes through the X causes Y and all that stuff. And then basically that was the part that got me, is when he said that it was more of a causal, what's the term, correlation. We're looking for more correlation than they are causation, which is that there's a fault that falls apart immediately. So.
Well, isn't the correlation basically the start of trying to find the causation?
Yeah, exactly. It's the start, but it's not the final thing.
Exactly. The correlations are everywhere. That doesn't mean anything.
Well, and actually, I wish I was recording it because I was actually talking to him on the Discord, and I wish I was like, I wish I had a way to record this because I actually got forget who it was. It might have been, let's see, the Truth or Not, whatever his name is, and Zanuck were actually admitting that it's not about causation. It's not about that. As long as we can see an effect and we can predict with it and model it, then that's all it's needed. That's basically what they were saying. I'm like, wow. So really don't. I told him, I said, don't come on the show and say the cause of gravity is the curve or the space-time curvature or mass attracting mass, because you really don't know. You really don't know. That's just your best educated guess is all you're saying.
Not even a
Have
guess.
you never experienced the fourth dimension before?
Exactly.
Come on.
It's a conceptual medium. It's not even a best guess. It's a completely made-up place.
I know. I agree with you. I kept saying that, so I kept saying to him, "How does a concept or how does a concept or construct do anything? I said, how can it do anything?" And then they kept going that word salad, throwing it at me, but they didn't really answer the question. They never could. Well, it's our predictions, our model, it's all this stuff. I said, but space-time can have no causal influence. It can't. It doesn't.
Well, it can if you presuppose it.
Right. It was hilarious. I wish I could have recorded it. It would have been fun. Maybe get some of them on here and see what we can do. See if they'll come on when they get into Discord. And actually, let's work this over again. So it'd be nice to get it recorded on air. Let me see if I can get Truth Lover to come into the live stream. He's in the live stream chatting. He was going at me this morning. See if he can come in and chat with us. I'm gonna message him right now. Okay. See what he says. Whoops.
All those people spamming my name in the live chat, you're welcome to join. There is a Discord link. Feel free to join and express your views.
Indeed, right the hand.
Anybody.
He's also spamming my name.
Feel free to join. There's a link in the info box below the video.
Yeah. Maybe then you can finally catch up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
Some people just like being... No, you're not banned from Discord. I asked that question right the hand. I specifically asked the other day, are you banned? The answer I got was no, unless I've been misled. Can join, as far as I am aware.
See, there's Big Daddy. Mr. Giggles is in there. He was going after me. And then Truth Lover is in there. He was going after me.
Oh, right hand asks, oh, so I'm not banned on site? Well, right hand, would you like to be banned on site? That you're asking?
I don't know, I don't care. Join if you want to join, if you've got something to ask. Feel free.
Nah, I think he just wants to be complaining all day. He spends a lot of time on that. You should see my Skype feed. He just keeps on posting messages to me, even though I don't talk back.
What's going on? What are we waiting on? It's so hot, I can't focus or concentrate on anything.
Oh, no, they've gone silent. They were getting on me for going silent because I'm busy like I always am. Now they're going silent when I offer them to come in and talk on air. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
Sounds
You guys
familiar.
are used to my going silent for a while.
There's no pre-show today for several reasons. Mainly because of time, as is always the case. But when I finally got to sit down and set up this show, I fired up the projector. And that's the most literal way of describing turning on a projector, firing it up. And it fired up. The bulb came on, which is always a joyous occasion. Every morning it's tense moments when I turn the projector on. Will it fire up? Come on, please, please. Yes, there's the bulb. turned on, and made the horrendous racket that it's been making for days on end, and said on screen, "Fan seized, shutting down." I'm like, oh, but I need you. Please don't die. So I had to get my screwdriver out and lots of little attachments and the vacuum out and try and scrape out bits of fluff from where it got seized in the fan. And I've got it working again, thank God. Otherwise there wasn't going to be a show, but it was really cutting close. So I was like 2 minutes to when I finally got the thing all plugged in. And then I had to rattle through all the setup process in a couple of minutes. Very stressful. But at least the damn thing's working. It's like I've been cursing it. That's probably why it failed, because I've been cursing it, even though it's actually working. So it's gone, right, you bastard. You don't like what I've been doing. I'll die completely.
So I guess you've forgotten about the rice experiment, right? Already, you forgot about that. You're cursing your projector, and it's gone moldy.
Yeah, it's an inanimate object, though. I mean, I'm attributing human-like traits to it, like it's got a personality and wants to mess me around. It hasn't, but just for fun.
It's an aberration, but you can work with that. It's called animism. I do it.
Actually, there's no cause to the fan seizing. It's just an observation you made, Nathan.
It's entropy.
But you can calculate the seizing of the fan, but you don't know the cause. But you just saw that it seized up.
Fluff is the cause. It was visually obvious. What's happened is when I took it apart to put the new bulb in, what that does is it dislodges like bits of fluff that are stuck in places that it needs to be stuck in. And obviously you don't want any fluff in it, but as soon as you open it, they all move around, and then you turn the hot fans on and it all lodges in places it shouldn't be lodged. And that was the problem, and that happens every time you take them apart. This is so flat earth related.
Yes, it is flat earth related because it's logic.
Well, it's entropy, I suppose. Everything's
Yeah,
wearing
that
out.
too.
Can I ask a question real
Go ahead.
Yeah, how can you have gas pressure without a container?
No, I want to know what's the difference between the atomic model and the solar system model.
I don't know. One's a model
scale.
One's I was going to say one's a model of stuff that's small. One's a model of the stuff that's big.
Okay, so they're both bullshit.
Both models. If you reify those things into existence, then that would be a reification fallacy. They're both models.
Okay, so atoms have never been proven to be in existence, correct? Only models.
No, pretty much they do, as there are things like filters.
Okay, so
you can
show me that.
compare one
Show me
through
the
the
atom.
other, but that's about it. To truly devise what it is in a smaller scale is just.
No,
then
you
have
said
to
you
apply all kinds of
showed it
energies
to us
and
already. So
Hold on, just let him respond. Is it right at the hand? Thank you for joining.
no, if the solar system is a model, why isn't the atomic model the same?
It is the same. I've just said that it is. It's just a model. If you
Okay,
assert-
so then there is no proof of. Right? Just like there's
Didn't
no universe solar system.
No, the problem isn't having a model. You can model whatever you like. The problem is the reification bit, where you assert that is reality. So, for example, I think this.
So,
got
like
covered
when
on-
you assert
Oh, my
that
bad.
air is bouncing. Would you say something like that? So, like when you say air is tiny tennis balls, because you're asserting what?
It's an analogy. I made that clear at the time.
Okay, so air is not bouncing tennis balls.
No, and it's not dots on a page either, but you can certainly draw it to depict what's happening, can't you? But I'm not asserting that it's little
but
bits
no,
of
you're
graphite on a
trying to
page. I'm saying it's analogous, just a way of explaining things to Spurs. Normally, I would not use anything like as crude as a definition, as an example as that. But when you're dealing with somebody at that level, what else can you do? short of literally doing a
You
conspiracy
don't
counts with a
dumb
flipboard
yourself
and a bit of
down.
paper.
And here's the thing: you're saying that air is. Hold on. What if air is not particles bouncing around, but one cohesive fluid that?
It's not a fluid. What this arbitrary definition of fluid is incorrect, because the properties of gas are very different to the properties of a liquid. Now, the fact that people can term them similarly is meaningless. It's an arbitrary terminology given to two things that are very different. They may have similarities, and those similarities can be binded together in terminology. Semantics, if you will.
Okay. But you're saying that the similarities between everything is the atom, and it's the same structural unit that makes up every particular piece of matter, and you've never proven that. That is an assumption.
I've not proven that atoms are real. Is that your claim?
You have not proven that electrons, atoms, and that stuff is made up of subatomic particles or particles in general. You've not proven that. That's an assumption.
No, it's not. No, atoms are
Okay, so then
definitely
prove to me
proven.
that a brick is made up of a structure of atoms.
Yes. But you can degrade, you can miniaturize matter, and then eventually have microfilters. Ever heard of microfilters? It's
Hold on, don't ask
very
him a
fascinating
question.
what you can do with
Hold
them.
on.
Hold on.
That's not what he
You're
asked.
filtering physical matter.
Nobody
Okay,
asked,
you're still
Arwin.
a microfilter will physically reduce the particle size. Okay, now show me those particles made up of the structure of atoms.
But that's not relevant to the model of
It
the
is
atom.
relevant because
It
that's
is.
what I'm
No, it is
asking.
relevant to the
So you're
size
asserting.
of
Hold
them,
on,
not
Arwin.
as
You're
to how
asserting
they
that
are
things are made
structured.
up.
The structure is explained
hold
through
on,
chemistry.
Arwin. Right, I know he's talked over us, but he's the one making the positive claim or challenging a positive claim. I don't know if anybody's made a claim in regards to atoms. What claim is this in regards
You
to?
have. You said that. You said electrons. You said that's how electricity works. You said air is bouncing particles. You've made these claims. So
Particles.
unless you want to
What is
totally
an
take that
atom?
analogy.
Hold on. I
Why
didn't say
don't we
atoms.
just
Hold on,
define what it is?
Arwin. I didn't say atoms though. I said particles, did I not?
You said bouncing particles, but you don't know that. That's an
Oh, hold
assumption
on.
that you make
Particles.
based on observations of
Oh,
effects.
hold on.
You've never seen an air.
Particles. So not atoms then. I mean, I'm not denying them
I'm
either.
saying you
I'm not
don't know
taking a
that
position
air
in
is
that.
made up of individual particles because you can.
Yeah, I'd stand by that. What's wrong with that?
You would stand by. Okay, then don't say that it's made up of individual particles
But it
because
is.
you're reifying what you don't know when you do that.
No, I'm not. I mean, I gave a qualifying example with steam. The gaseous
No,
state.
but steam. Hold on. Steam is water droplets. Steam is not.
Steam is gas.
No, it's not. Look it up. Steam is water droplets. You have.
Unbonded.
It's still
gas.
matter.
It's gas.
And
it's
now,
unbonded.
now you reassert the bond. You're reasserting
Sorry.
the bond of air when you see.
Sorry, steam isn't bonded together.
You're asserting this bond of H2O. Okay, that's what you're doing when you say.
No, I'm not. H2O is not what I'm talking about. There's no
Okay, so
breaking
what do you mean
of
when
the
you say?
H2O bonds when steam is.
What is being bonded?
The loose bonds are broken when there's a phase change and it becomes free to move in.
What?
Why are you talking over me all the time, right? I've stopped
Because you
doing
just
it
keep
to you, but
saying
you're talking
bonds.
over
You
me.
keep saying bonds, but you're not defining what bonds. What
Yeah,
bonds are breaking?
Bonds held together.
'Cause you have to
Meaning
say
held
the-
together. I'll try to,
What-
but you seem
what
to
The
be
is
talking
molecular
over me.
bonds. It has a
Atomic
specific
Yeah,
term.
sorry, Arwin,
Molecular
I'm
bonding.
trying to, but he just keeps talking over me. I don't get it. Yeah, bonded together, as in visually, obviously bonded. Water, it's held together.
Okay,
isn't
so
it?
you can see water being held together through
Yeah.
a time.
Yeah, it's
Or do
visually
you-
bloody obvious. Yes. Same with ice.
So you're observing. So you're observing a phenomenon, or you're.
No, I just said it's visually bloody obvious. It's not a phenomena. The phase
What
change,
is obvious?
that could be argued to be a phenomena, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not discussing the phase change. I'm talking about the state. Steam is gas.
No, hold on. No, steam is droplets of water.
Yes, I appreciate
Do you
that.
understand?
And that's gas when it's unbonded and free to move in all
A
directions randomly,
droplet of
unbonded.
water is not a gas.
Why are you talking
Nathan.
over me
A
again?
droplet of
Why,
water is a.
right the hand. Why are you doing it again? I don't understand. This is a reasonable conversation
Because
between
you're
two
wrong.
people until I'm talking, and then mid-sentence you start talking. So do you want to talk reasonably, like reasonable men, or not?
Okay, so is steam a gas or
Yes.
is steam water drop?
Yeah, it's water vapor, gas. Water
Until it
droplets in
recondensates.
gaseous form. Yes, that's correct. Water
How
is in...
is a water droplet
I'm
in a...
still in the middle of talking. Again, what is your
Yeah, how
malfunction?
is a water droplet
I
in a-
haven't finished talking.
That's a
So if you don't
contradiction.
mind,
That's a contradiction.
this is going to be a
Nathan.
short
You can't
conversation,
have a water
right, the hand.
droplet in a gas
You're just
form.
raising my blood pressure. I don't need this. It's
I know,
too hot of a
because you're
day.
wrong. You
While
can't
I'm
have a
talking,
water droplet in
I'm
a
just going to
gas
kick you out
form.
then. That's the end of our conversation, is it? Because you can't have a back and forth conversation without talking through me. Is this the end of
That
our
is
conversation, right, the
exactly-
hand?
That is
No,
exactly
just,
the
address-
issue.
Here I can.
Dave, I'm talking to right the hand. Is this the end of our conversation because you are incapable of letting me finish a sentence?
Address the contradiction of a water droplet not being a gas.
It is a gas.
It's
A
not a
vapor.
water
A water
droplet
droplet
as
is
long as
not-
it's steam. It's only when it recondensates when it becomes a droplet again, right? The hand.
No, steam is not a gas. Steam is water
is.
droplets. When you hold
Let
your
him
No,
say
hand
it.
that's only
hold
when
on,
it
Owen,
when you hold your hand
recondensates.
over steam,
Owen! Let him say his piece.
if you are boiling water and there is steam coming out of the kettle and you put some sort of object over it, you will collect water. It is not a gaseous thing. You are collecting.
Yeah, water's got 3 states.
Okay, and it never
Condensation,
went to
yes.
the gaseous state when you boil water.
Yeah, you're if you want to put your stamp on this, right, the hand, like Spurs,
I am.
I've got no issue. I
I
just
will.
prefer that while I talk, you don't.
turned water
And it
into...
seems that while I'm talking, again, you're talking, aren't you? Last chance. I'll say it one last time, right, the hand. While I'm talking, you aren't. Okay? Good. So, I don't mind you putting your flag on steam is not a gas. No worries.
Okay, so you have to admit you never turned water into a gas. You only turned it into steam, correct?
Yeah, gas. That would be a gas.
No, we just went over that steam is water droplets.
Well, what is that
It's
food?
water.
If it doesn't turn into a gas but becomes water droplet, what is
Water
happening? It's just
droplet, what's the
teleporting
point?
upwards.
It's got
The
different
point-
Is it
phases.
moving in midair?
Yeah,
What is
H2O has
going
different
on?
phases. Solid, liquid, and gas. It's still H2O in every
H2O.
single
What is
phase.
H2O? What is H2O?
Water. It's got 3 phases.
You just
Solid,
said H2O. What-
liquid, and gas. It's still
Please explain
called
H-
water in every single state. It doesn't change what it is at a chemical level. It's still water. It's just either loosely bonded, liquid, no bonds, gas, or tightly bonded, solid. But it's still
What's
water
H2O?
in every single instance.
I've got a definition of that for steam.
What's H2O? You use that term. What is it?
Hydrogen and 2 oxygens.
Oh, so you have an
Steam-
atomic
if you see-
bond,
look,
right?
If
We're
you
not
see
breaking those
steam,
atomic
that means
bonds.
that it's recondensating.
Wait, hold on.
We're not breaking those
Are
bonds.
you saying that water is made up of is an atomic bond, right?
Yeah, but we're not saying those bonds are the ones that are being broken. You're not breaking the H2O bonds.
I'm not saying that. Are you saying water is made up of an atomic bond?
Yeah, you can use electrolysis and get
I didn't ask you. I asked.
out of it. You can use electrolysis. What's the
I didn't.
point?
Oh, I'll get into electrolysis if you want to. I'm asking Nathan. Is
I know,
Nathan?
but what's the
Are you
point?
Okay.
affirming that that water is an atomically made up structure of hydrogen?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware.
You got to remember.
Okay, now hold on. Let me stop interrupting. Now, did you not just before say that the atomic model and the solar system model are both models and don't reaffirm?
That's correct. That's why when I describe it, I just describe it
Oh,
in
okay,
the
hold on,
visual.
hold on,
I'm
hold on, hold
talking.
on. So
I'm
you don't
talking.
know that- I
I'm
know, hold on, so you
talking.
don't know
Hello? Yeah. When I
You're getting
describe it.
aggravated 'cause I'm
Yeah,
waiting.
I'm in the middle of a bloody sentence, 10th man. I'll give you one last chance. You've addressed me and now I'm responding. Don't just decide when I've finished responding. I'll decide. Okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
When I describe those 3 states, I don't describe H2O. I use the word water. Yeah? Now, while, as far as I'm aware, that's an accurate description at an atomic level, I'm not claiming that. In my explanation to Spurs, I used the word water, and I described it as particles, and described the bonds that they have, or the lack thereof, when being in a gaseous state. That's it. I'm not arguing anything beyond that. That's my only point, that it's a gas, free to move in all directions, unbonded. That's it.
Okay, so you'll take back the H2O part, that it's made
Yeah,
up of
it's okay.
hydrogen and oxygen.
What
Sorry,
does it
didn't hear
have to
that.
do with housekeeping? How can you have gas pressure without a container? That's the question.
You can't. It's an antecedent. Antecedent consequent. Look it up.
So what does this water, what does this H2O do when it evaporates? It goes up and does what? It goes up and it evaporates.
Hold on. Look,
It hits the temperature level.
Are you hold on? Do you
Does he want
see
an answer?
water
He can
evaporate,
have
or are
two.
you just
He can have an
witnessing
answer
it?
with 2 words. Do you want an answer, David? Hydrological cycle. Look it up.
What is it caused by? Temperature.
Sorry, did you look up the hydrological cycle in those 3 seconds?
Yes, I understand it. The whole situation is that it all does that because of temperature, correct?
No, temperature exchange. It's the changing of temperature that does it, not just
And
temperature.
relative to the pressure of the temperature and pressure are related. You can have a
What's
higher
the claim
temperature
being
at higher
made?
pressures
Who
in the same
cares?
state.
There's a correlation. That's correct.
What?
A correlation.
Sorry,
not
I
causation.
just want to round this out with 10th Man. Was there anything else, 10th Man? If not, we'll move on to David.
No, I just asked the last housekeeping question and been listening.
I actually meant, I got you confused with right the hand. I meant to say right the hand, sorry. Is there anything else? Right the hand.
No, I just wanted to say that water doesn't turn into a gas. It boils into steam, which is just a vapor. It's droplets. So you've just decreased the size
I win.
and split up the.
Do you want to go
Because
again?
here's the thing: we're trying. When you say we look at something, we can't prove cause just from the observation of an effect. So when we observe water boiling, yes, we observe the bubbles and we observe the everything that we observe. But when you start saying that what we observe is because of X, then I have a problem with that, because that's the same thing ballers do when they drop something and say it's gravity. So when we observe light go through a slit and rainbow out, that's observing an effect. Now, just because you observe an effect and can create a theory that can reasonably explain it doesn't mean it's correct, because that's exactly what ballers do when they drop a rock and say this explains it.
That's a total red herring. That's a total straw man, because we actually do try to find a causal relationship and not just make claims without it. That's what the ballers do. That's not what we do.
Okay, it's a ham-handed segue from steam is not a gas to the double slit experiment isn't valid.
It was just, I'm just saying we have to have the same standard of scrutinization for everything.
Yeah, we do. Scientific.
Did you know? Oh, real quick, let me ask them this question. Did you know I can actually, using two methods, boil water? I can either put it in a vacuum and remove the pressure and the water will boil, or I can add heat to it and it will boil. So pressure can cause both of those. Lack of pressure.
Well, you're lowering the temperature as well when you pull a vacuum.
So it becomes, when it boils, it's becoming a gas, right?
Yep.
You can also say it's expanding because you're removing the pressure around it.
Right, but it's boiling, becoming a gas, right?
Yes. Well, no, you're observing an effect. You're saying it's boiling and it's turning into a gas. I'll say that you're removing the pressure around it and it's expanding. You know, so
no,
observation of effect and your
expand.
theory for it doesn't prove the cause. This is my whole point. You can't just observe an effect and then assume.
Owen, I don't mind if you have a back and forth with him, right? But you're talking through him, and I'm not hearing what he's saying.
What about nitrogen? You want to talk about water? We all know that water evaporates and it just disperses into the atmosphere until it hits a temperature and comes back down. We all understand that.
So what? What's your claim?
Is the housekeeping question: how can you have gas pressure without a container? Where and who came up with that housekeeping question?
I did.
Okay, that it's universal though. You've got to understand, Nathan. This is just about the situation of you can have gas pressure without a container if you are surrounded by cold. Okay, temperature does cause pressure. That's what it makes the difference.
No worries.
Pressure is different.
David, we've already smashed this into the middle of next week twice. But you're making a positive
No, sir, you
assertion.
hadn't. Not with me, you hadn't.
And there we go. I'm talking, so David's talking. You're making a positive assertion that the container is cold. Somehow cold is containing us. Well, can you demonstrate that?
Well, you can demonstrate it because you can't have, if you compress gas either hot, it's going to get hot, and if you release it, it's going to get cold. So just to even compress air to begin with, in a man-made experiment, you're going to have a change in temperature of those gases, right?
That's fascinating. That's fascinating. Can you show us cold acting as a container? Yes or no?
When you compress air, it gets hot. And when
I heard this red herring nonsense. I'll ask my question for the third time. Can you back your baseless assertion that cold is acting as a container?
No, you just asked me how about pressure. Okay, you say gas pressure. How do you weigh a helium balloon, Nathan? How do you weigh a helium balloon? How do you weigh something?
You put it in a vacuum chamber.
Okay,
David,
David,
you seem to be David.
The only way you're measuring it that way,
I know. It's the point where my question to you demolishes your argument. You don't have to talk through every word I say when I repeat my question. Please don't talk through my repetition of my question. You have made a claim. Cold contains the air. Now, we are asking for some cowbell. Some actual evidence to back your baseless assertion that cold contains the air. Now, please, can you demonstrate what you have claimed? Please.
Okay, an ice cube. An ice cube is containing the oxygen and water molecules into a frozen state. Until you warm that ice cube
David, I'm just going to interrupt you and say, would you like my 2-year-old, turning 3 tomorrow, to explain that an ice cube isn't the atmosphere? It's actually a solid. It's not a gas. So just button your lips, and I'll make it absolutely abundantly clear by just repeating the question that we ask daily. How can you have, I'll say this bit nice and slowly because you're dumb, deaf or stupid, gas pressure without a container? Now, when I ask you to demonstrate that cold can contain gas, you show me an ice cube. That's a solid.
That's right, Nathan. That's how simple this conversation is.
Oh, really? Well, we haven't got ice going in and out of our lungs. We've got air, a gas, not a solid ice cube.
What would happen if you melted that ice cube and it turned it into a gas? Then you
Just to make clear for the audience, I've asked him to back his baseless assertion that cold can contain the atmosphere. He's given us ice cube, meaningless, nonsense, and then this is what we get afterwards.
What about the gas from dry ice, David?
I don't know. Through this logical reasoning, he's only presuming there is an ice dome. That's it.
Dry ice is frozen nitrogen. It's a whole different animal.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be a gas anymore, though.
The atmosphere is made up of supposedly 78% nitrogen. Water is just a small part of it. The water in the atmosphere, you've got all these other different gases in the atmosphere, and they all have different freezing temperature ranges. So why do you think like helium goes up? Helium will go up until it gets to a point where it can't go any higher because of the temperature. It won't travel any higher.
Oh, because of the temperature? Yeah, that's another baseless assertion that we've asked you to back with actual evidence, David, but you don't seem to want to do it. You just keep wanting to throw out these baseless assertions without actually backing them with any evidence whatsoever. It seems really irritating to me that we would smash this twice into the middle of next week and all you would do is come back and keep reasserting it, and then not backing any of your baseless assertions with any evidence. Annoying.
we've given you the answers for everything you've asked so far, but you just don't want to deny them. So you're kind of acting like a baller now. See, you know what?
Oh, excuse me. So you've demonstrated that cold can act as a container, have you? You lying sack of garbage. No, I'm not acting like a baller. I've asked you to back your baseless assertion, and you've not done so. What you've done is accuse me of being a baller and rejecting the evidence that you presented when you haven't presented any. Only a baseless assertion, and then a few random factoids about the gas in our atmosphere. That's not evidence of cold containing anything. That's horseshit. How dare you? How dare you? And then talk when I haven't finished. What a prick. Then call me a baller. No, my friend. Asking you to back your baseless assertion isn't behaving like a baller. It's asking you to back your baseless assertion.
I've answered every question that you're wanting to know. It's just...
Oh, here's a question. Can you give us a demonstration of cold containing air, please?
Solid. How do you do it?
Oh, is it straight onto a question to me, is it, David? What a shock. You've just said you answered every question. Here's a question. There's a question mark at the end. Can you demonstrate cold containing atmosphere, or can you only rumpus the living shit out of the Discord server while I ask you this question? You've answered every question, have you? No, you haven't. Do you want me to ask it again for a 6th or 7th time?
And why is my ice cube...
why are you asking me a question? You said you answered every question. You haven't answered this question. Why haven't you answered this question? The question being, can you demonstrate, that's the question part, your baseless assertion that cold can contain anything? Air in this instance. Have you answered that? No.
Yeah,
liar.
You can't... Yeah,
liar.
Because it's
liar.
Like
you've not answered my question, liar. You said you'd answered everything, liar. You're just a liar, David. Liar.
What you want to say?
What? You're a liar.
Ice
You're a liar.
cube is not gas, David.
You're a liar, David.
Ice cube is not gas.
You want me to do, right, Nathan? Let's discuss the demonstration that you want me to do. You want me to show you how I can compress air.
No, listen up, you deaf retard. I want you to give a demonstration of gas containing atmosphere. That's your claim. And now you're saying about compressed blah blah blah. No. You claim cold is what contains the gas. So demonstrate it, you fundy zealot. Don't just claim it and then tell me that your ice cube example isn't acceptable by me because I'm a glober. That's horseshit. No, you'll actually demonstrate your baseless assertion.
How do you measure this weight?
Don't ask me something. You demonstrate what you've claimed. Yeah? I'm asking you if you can demonstrate it. You've claimed, because you're a liar, that you've answered all my questions. You haven't. You haven't answered this question. Can you demonstrate cold containing the atmosphere?
How do you measure that?
Don't ask me anything. Stop asking me questions. You've got a baseless assertion. I'm asking you to back it. So back it. Last chance. All you're doing is rumpusing the hell out of the Discord server. I'm not going to tolerate it much longer. So either you answer with a demonstration, or I kick you out, David. I've had enough of you rumpusing the Discord server.
Look, David, the only consequence of your argument is, well, that there must be a solid ice dome out there. Consequentially, from reasoning out that it's get colder and colder and colder. Look, it's a natural consequence of all materials that if it gets cold enough, it will eventually turn solid. So by that train of thought, at some point, it would be inevitable to bump into an ice dome if there is no other type of physical dome before that point. That is the train of thought. It's not an open container with a vacuum next to it.
Nathan will appreciate this answer. I cannot prove what the sky is.
Oh, well, then stop claiming it then. Yeah, do you mind? You keep telling us about this cold holding stuff in. That's a baseless assertion, a claim you've made that you can't prove. Yeah, that's the bit that you didn't answer, you lying sack of garbage. I asked you to actually prove it. That was a question, and you didn't answer it. Now you've made it clear that you can't prove what you're claiming. So stop claiming it. It's just that simple. You don't have to claim that what the sky is doing.
Right?
Why are you interrupting
You're
me?
missing the point here.
The point is you can't prove it. You've just made that clear.
David, I actually addressed your concept. Did you hear what I said?
do you understand that anything in the sky would have to come from the Earth? So any of the gases on Earth can only go so high because once they hit a certain temperature, they're not.
Well, you
going to rise
didn't listen to
anymore.
what I said, did you? You didn't hear a word I said, did you?
Any other gas, nitrogen or any other gas that goes up, is only going to go up so high until it hits a temperature and it's going to fall back down.
It's meaningless.
Let me address that. Let me address that real quick, Nathan, if you don't care. David, let me ask you.
Addressing this freaking Fruit Loop.
Well, this will help. Hang on.
Stop feeding him.
Well, here's the.
Stop listening to anything. I just gave him a good argument.
You're rumpusing Paul.
Okay, David, what is the boiling point of oxygen and nitrogen and other gases?
What I know the freezing point. I'm not sure what the boiling point is.
Well, remember we've been talking about phase changes. You know, nitrogen and oxygen have a liquid state. They can have a liquid state. At what temperature does the liquid state turn into a gas?
I'm not sure on the gas on nitrogen. Oxygen is going to do it at when you start boiling it. So nitrogen, I'm not sure about that because you can't. Nitrogen, nitrogen is not. The only way you can weigh nitrogen is to compress it, right?
That's not my question. Nitrogen.
For the love of God. Sorry, Paul. You asked him about boiling points, right? So what does he start talking about? Something completely different when you know and you're just trying to ask him if he knows or not. Not to babble on incessantly about something totally different.
I don't know about the boiling point of nitrogen. I don't know that you can boil nitrogen.
Well, then shut up. You don't know, so shut up. Just say, I don't know. Have some humility and shut your stupid mouth. That's all you've got to do if you don't know.
Oh, he doesn't know. He's making shit up and talking backwards on shit just to try to...
No, he isn't.
Most of my questions are very pertinent to the discussion. Would you agree? Anybody on the panel disagree? Okay, usually.
Did David just really say that Paul is making shit up when he's talking about coal can be some type of container and he hasn't proven it and he's just spitting nonsense for this past 10 minutes? Are you kidding?
I already gave him a logical consequence of his train of thought, and he literally...
He's not even trying to listen to anybody. He's just asserting his retarded question again and again and again with nothing to back it up. It's nonsense. And then wants to tell Paul he's making shit up. That's adorable.
And I was just asking a question on top of that. Heat is kinetic energy inside of a substance, okay? Certain substances boil at different temperatures. Water boils at roughly 200 degrees at sea level in our atmosphere. In our atmosphere, or in our atmosphere, oxygen boils at about negative 300 degrees, I think, or something to that effect. Okay, so
what do you mean boils at negative? See how you're trying to talk backwards? That's freezing it. It freezes it. You can't have a negative.
Boils. Okay.
He's just said, sorry, just to make this clear for the audience. He's just made it clear only about 60 seconds ago, maybe 2 minutes ago, that he doesn't know about this particular phase change. But now he's going to tell Paul what's what and how he's wrong.
What does negative mean?
Don't ask him. He's making an example for you, the bonehead here. Yeah? So again, I'll said it twice. You don't need to say anything you don't know. You just need to shut up and listen.
I know when somebody's talking bull crap or not. That's what...
You just made it clear you don't know. You've got no idea about these phase changes in this particular element. You don't know about it. You're being told, but you're interrupting non-stop and telling him he's making it up when you haven't even heard him come to the end of his example yet. Shout out to Evan5935 for the super chat. Can we stop entertaining fools with foolish points? No, all are welcome.
Well,
Dallas, you have to make one point and then let people respond.
In the atmosphere, Nathan. If you're standing outside and there's helium in there, how are you getting gas pressure on you, huh?
Hey, Jose. Hey,
we know there's helium in the air, right? There's helium in there. There's trace amounts of helium in there, right? How is it putting gas pressure on you, Nathan? Yes or no?
Didn't hear your question. Why are you asking
He's not going to answer it because you.
Well, because Paul's in the middle of doing something, right? And you've completely hijacked him. You won't let him make his point. You're going to ask us random crap. It's really irritating. Paul was in the middle of something. You know, his point's been completely lost. You're going to reassert the same shit and ask us the same questions over and over again, rather than let Paul make a new point.
I just came in to say, relax, Nathan, and shout out to David. Shout out to David.
I'm relaxed.
See, we do away with gravity on this thing too. See, you know what they tell the ballers say, that the reason all the gases stay in because of gravity. And so I guess you guys agree with the ballers that gravity is holding all these gases in, right? Or the only other thing you can
I'm
say
addressing
is
that, David, if you'll listen to me.
This is
David, if you'll listen, I will address that.
aggravating and retarded.
The ballers say that the atmosphere of the Earth stays on the atmosphere because of gravity, right? We live in a gravity well.
What?
David, you really
David,
don't want to learn.
what the hell are you talking about,
What the hell
man?
are you babbling about, you stupid moron? A gravity well? What? A well of the bending of space-time? This guy's a glober. I said it weeks ago and everyone was like, no, he's a flat earther. He's just told us we live in a gravity well.
No,
That's
he
just
didn't.
bullshit.
He was
That's
trying
the claim
to
he's just
strawman
made.
us with that. He's like, oh, we're not going along with your freaking retarded idea that leads nowhere. As I already explained to you what the logical consequence of your train of thinking is gonna be, and you didn't listen. Okay.
Well, Erwin, let me make my point.
Yes, please, Paul.
I've got a point, please. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. For one, if the boiling point, which basically oxygen, and I've got it on screen, what the boiling point of oxygen is, which is a gas that we breathe every day. Its boiling point or boiling temperature is negative 297 degrees. Okay, so it changes from a liquid state to a gaseous state at that point. So for him to say that cold is the cause of causing gas to go back into, let's say, even just to a liquid state, he's going to have to prove that the temperature up there reaches this temperature. And the thing you have to address right off the bat is the thermosphere, which drives the temperature up to over 1,000 degrees. So he's going to have to address this issue. That was my point. Because if the highest you go on a peak is negative 50 degrees, right? Even he said that, I think, a few days ago. So really, you'll have to go even higher to prove that the temperature reaches negative 297 degrees to cause oxygen to come back together and fall back down.
And with that, I'll say if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, this is where we bid you farewell. A massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of you tuned in, smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum, which you should definitely all join. Massive thank you to all of today's live panel for making this live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on the premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Even if he heard it, was he
negative
listening
40
to it?
degrees to 2,000 degrees. That makes no sense.
Say that again.
What is making the temperature go back up in the thermosphere, if that's a real thing? So you're saying at the top of Mount Everest, it's almost freezing. Then you keep going up higher, it's getting colder. Then you hit some magical point where it's hot again. That makes no sense logically.
Well, that's what they say. So.
Well, they say the Earth is a ball too, Paul. You're going to believe everything they say?
Could it be that the sun is...
Well,
have you looked into it?
Hold on, I want to hear Paul's address to this, because this is a big point of the show, is that people don't think anyone on this show is genuine. They think you just push what Google says, just like you did, Paul. Well, that's what they tell us. This entire point of the show is to question what they tell us, and you're just going to go spew what they tell us? Come on, Paul.
Well, I can make one
what
argument.
do you spew? What do you spew, dude? What do you spew?
Arwen,
just let...
Oh, God, Arwen, please. Just let Paul and Right the Hand have their discussion, please.
I just got one question for you right at the hand. Is the sun hot or cold?
I don't know what the sun is, man. I don't know. I don't know what is happening when I look up and see that bright light. You know, I don't know if it's the matter being energized. I don't know if it's my skin reacting to some metaphysical thing. I'm not going to assume. So are you going to answer the thermosphere question by asking me a question? Or are you going to prove your claim that there's a thermosphere?
I was trying to make a point to
so the thermosphere, back to that. Can you prove it, or
Right
you just
the hand,
acclaimed it with no basis?
The top of mountain should be hot with your theory. The top of
David,
ought to be no ice
hold
on top. It ought
on.
to be hot up there.
David.
Okay.
Right the hand has asked a question. Thermosphere, can you prove it? That's it. Just waiting for a response from Paul.
I can't prove it specifically because I've never been up there, so I don't know if it's true or not. I was making a point to David. I was making a point to David. Okay.
But the point you made, he's trying to make a point that it gets cold and cold can be. Hold on, he's trying to make a point that cold. He's trying to make a point that cold can be the container, but then you just asserted that there's heat up there.
Impulse control. For fuck's sake.
I'm not even done talking right the hand. I'm not even done talking. Okay. I was trying to make a point to David. His ultimate point, he's going to have to prove that the temperature reduces down to negative 300 degrees. And I can cite a source saying, which I'm not saying that source is necessarily true because I don't know, I've never verified it, saying that the temperature does rise at a certain altitude. So I'm actually.
How do we know that?
David. I just said I don't know.
How do we know the temperature rises at a certain altitude without faith in what you've been told?
Then you prove to me. Then you prove it. You prove whatever. I'm not.
Okay, no, I'm going to say that it follows what happens.
Hold on. You're both talking through each other. Hold on. Right, the hand. Ask your question again, please.
No, he told me to prove that my claim. Okay, when the higher you go, it always gets colder. I have physical evidence in reality to back my claim. Now you're going to come in with this thermosphere gets hotter. I don't need to disprove.
Okay, he's gone. Did he drop?
No, he's just, that's the end of his statement. So he's saying, I can demonstrate that as I go higher, it gets colder. Whereas you're making a positive assertion that there's a thermosphere. What are you going to do to back your assertion? I realise you've already said, I can't, but that's his point. And
I can't prove. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Well, the only thing you did was reverse the burden of proof, Paul. No offence, but that's a bit unreasonable. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you for that.
They're rumpusing all over me, and my temperature is rising because of it. I can't prove the thermosphere because I've never been up there, and you can't prove the temperature does not rise because you've never been high enough either. You can make the claim that as you go higher, it does get colder, and I don't dispute that.
No, you do. You do dispute it because you're saying at a certain point it gets hotter.
I said I don't know for sure.
But you're claiming that it might. So why do you hold on. So why do you think logic will stop when you get higher? You know what that sounds like? If the ball gets big enough, water will stick to it. That's what that sounds like to me.
He wasn't claiming it. He was basically presupposing it to entertain David.
Okay, that's even better.
That's what
a presupposition.
Right?
The only way water sticks to anything
that's literally what he's been doing the whole time.
Yeah.
But right the hand is so on trying to prove him wrong that he's not even paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah, impulse
I am.
control.
I think
He keeps saying that it could be. He keeps saying the thermosphere could be. Yes, and there could be a ball Earth holding water to it. That could be.
It's a presuppositional argument. That was his point.
Until you
why don't you get
something
this?
Arwen, stop raging. Until you show me
I'm
something
not
in
raging.
reality
I'm
that would make me believe the temperature
You're
goes
only
back up.
accusing him
Arwen,
while
why are you
he
stopping
said
him?
at the beginning of his statement, this is a presupposition.
Don't get it. He's making his conclusion and he's not being allowed. I don't understand. Why can't he make this conclusion? Why is he not being allowed to do this? Try again, right the hand. Let's see how you get on.
Thank you. So the point was, if you're presupposing what could happen with no evidence to back it up, when you presuppose it could get warm when it's only getting colder, I equate that as the same thing as presupposing that the water will stick to a ball when you only see it roll off. How would it be any different?
I mean, in one sense of the word, I guess you're correct. But the point I was trying to make is we don't know the absolute height temperature. We don't know. It could be.
And we don't know if a water sticks to a big ball either, Paul?
We don't know what?
Sorry, you take it back. Like, come on, gain some. This is what this is.
I just said it. I don't know. I mean, I can say okay. I was trying to disprove,
But
and I
then you
used a
said
presupposition to
but then
prove
you
that.
said
Versus prove Dave. So you,
Paul,
I mean,
right after you said I'm right and you can't prove anything that you just claimed, you then said, but we don't know. That's what a baller would say about water sticking to a ball. Why are you behaving like this? This is where you're losing credibility. This is where the show
No, a
loses
baller would
credibility.
absolutely say that that water sticks to a ball. That's what ballers do. That's what they
And
believe
Paul
in.
is
So of
saying that
course
it
they're going to
might
say
get
that.
hotter when we go up. He's doing the exact.
Well,
Yeah, but he's not
have you read
asserting that he knows that for a fact, right to hand.
exactly? And have
The
you
reason
ever
why
read
it-
up until
The
the
fact
height
is
where
it
the
gets
claimed
colder as
thermosphere
we
is? Have
go
you
up.
ever
The
measured
fact is
anything
water
on that
rolls
height?
off a ball. If you want
So
me
you
to believe
got a
anything,
relation that it's getting colder up there. How do you know for a fact that that will continue
Sorry,
beyond where
Nathan.
you have personally measured it?
here we go. How do I know that what I see will keep happening? How do I know that, Arwen?
Sorry,
How do I?
That's right. How do you know for a fact that beyond where you read things, the natural, there is a linear natural continuation of what you've measured so far? How do you know that for a fact?
So how do I
Sorry,
know
Nathan,
for a
sorry
fact
about
that
that.
water will
He
roll
just
off a
wants to
ball?
understand.
Arwen, Arwen, are you saying that we can't know for a fact that water will roll off a ball? If that's Earth size because we haven't seen.
Well, we can confirm that here on Earth, but
No.
until you actually
You're
do
not.
the
That's not what
measurements
I
about a
asked. I
certain
asked. You said
region,
no,
you
Arwen.
can't
Stop
draw
talking. Stop talking and
absolute
listen.
conclusions just because you've noticed a pattern so far. You don't
Okay,
know.
that's
It
not what I
seems
asked you.
logical to
That's not what I
assume
asked
it,
you.
but
I
you
asked
don't
you. No,
know.
Arwen,
That's the
stop
point.
talking so I can speak. Arwen,
Just because it
do
seems
you believe
logical
it
to
is
assume it
possible? Stop
doesn't
talking,
mean
Arwen.
that
I'm
you
trying.
know it for a fact. Now I'm done.
Do you believe there's a possibility water can stick to an Earth-sized ball? Yes or no?
you'd have to have some kind of force to do that.
I don't think an Earth-sized ball can ever exist to test that out.
I didn't ask that. I said, do you think it's possible, based on your world?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, so we can say based on the observation of matter and how things behave that it will continue to behave like.
We can speculate a lot, but until you actually touch upon it with empirical knowledge, data, you can't be absolutely certain. You can only go with what seems to be the most logical. That's it. Not
Okay,
empirical.
when did any sort of doubt, even 0.001%, enter into the equation of pouring water on a ball and it not rolling off?
Percentages don't mean anything. It's about empirical data.
Okay, so empirical data.
Hey,
Show me empirical data where water doesn't roll off.
Water will stick to the outside of a ball.
Dallas, I wasn't talking to you.
If it
You
was
can
frozen.
keep those claims to yourself, David, because it has nothing
we
to
all
do
know
with what
that
I
the
just
ice
said.
caps are all level. Okay.
Bro, don't interrupt the conversation. You derail the conversation. I'm trying to pin Arwen down to him saying that the globe Earth is a possibility based on his.
No, this never
No,
gonna happen,
Arwen.
you fucking retard. Stop trying to screw around and manipulate me like some freaking Vanya asshole.
Just don't fall for it if you think he's trying to
Sorry,
ensnare you.
Yeah, come on. If you're.
I already told you it's not gonna happen on the ball. It has nothing to do with the ball. This
Okay,
is only
so
about
unless we
empirical
see,
knowledge.
unless we see an Earth.
God,
Hold on,
I've just cleared the airwaves for Arwen. So can you just let Arwen speak? Everybody else.
Sorry,
Sorry, Arwen, how do you play a
before Arwen
helium
starts.
Oh my God! Just because there's a small pause, please can it just be Arwen next until we hear the end of his statement? Thanks.
Yes, I'll tell everyone clearly when I'm done, okay? It's not going to be that long. Right, so the only point I'm trying to make is what seems to be logical versus actual empirical data. So if things that you study within your reach seem in a certain way, show a certain pattern, certain correlation, then it is kind of logical to assume that that pattern will continuate beyond what you've touched upon so far. but you can't take it for a fact until you actually empirically confirm that that pattern continuates. You just don't know for certain. That is my point.
Okay, so is how? Hold
I'm
on,
done now.
Dallas. Let me speak.
Real quick, Arwen, then
Dallas, let me respond to that.
Owen, you said that was your point, then you paused. That was your
Arwen,
that was God.
I said I would clear.
When I'm talking, I don't expect everybody to respond through every bloody word I say. Don't respond. Just listen. Right, Arwen's got to the end. He said, that's my point. I take that as a pause, end of statement. Right the hand can reply. If you've got more to add, you'll have to add it later. Just let right the hand reply.
Thank you. So, when you see water rolling off of a ball, is that a pattern or is that the empirical nature of how water reacts with objects?
What? A ball? You mean a ball in your hand?
I said objects, shapes, matter. When you pour water on an object, is it behaving in a pattern or does it behave due to the empirical properties of water and the matter it's interacting with are unchanging?
Yes and yes.
Okay, so it's not a pattern that you're witnessing. You're witnessing the empirical nature and behavior of matter, correct?
Right, within the known boundaries.
Oh, no, okay, so you're not witnessing a pattern, so it's not pattern recognition. Thank you, I rest my case. Thank you, Arwen.
Okay, well, I don't see how you have a case with that, but that's fine.
Because you just contradicted yourself. You just said it was pattern
really?
recognition.
How did
then
I?
You just said it was the empirical behavior.
How did I do that?
Well, let him. Go ahead, right the hand.
Answer it, man.
Let right the hand just to say how Arwen's contradicted himself. Let him give the summary. Great.
Yeah, he just said that watching water behave is a pattern. Then he said it's the empirical nature of the behavior of matter. So he just contradicted himself.
How? How is that a contradiction?
Why can't the behavior have a pattern?
Does anybody
Because you
see
just
how
said that water is not a pattern. It behaves empirically based on its behavior.
I don't even understand what you're trying to convey here. This is just weird. You're just being very weird.
You said that right. You said that right at the hand.
No, I never said that water behaves in a
separated the
pattern.
two.
No, I asked him if water is a pattern or does it behave empirically based on the nature of its properties? And he said,
there you go. You used or. You separated them.
Water is a pattern. No, water pouring water over a ball. That was what you were trying to ask about.
Yes,
not
so
water
that's
in
not a
general.
pattern. You're not doing pattern. No, because I'm not strawmanning. You're saying you have to identify patterns to determine what's happening. And I'm saying water and how it interacts with objects is not pattern recognition. It's empirical behavior based on the properties of the water and the object it interacts.
Yeah, you're right about that. What's right?
I know I'm right about that. I'm just trying to get off.
Yeah, he don't know, man. He just makes shit up.
Shut up, David. I literally said yes to both things. What the hell is your problem?
I think he was actually talking about right the hand. He wasn't talking about you, Arwen. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think so.
It's like whoever smelt it dealt it. I guess Arwen smelt it first. Go ahead.
I was just trying to... this is going nowhere. This is absolutely... What is even the accusation here? I said yes to both things, and now he's saying, see, you got it wrong.
Well, hey, I got one question for you, Arwen. What is the gas container that's holding these gases in that we're weighing here on Earth? What is the container?
I have to go there to confirm anything about what the nature of the container is.
You know what the ballers say it is? They say it's gravity that's doing it.
I don't give a shit what they say. They haven't been there.
Okay, so you make a claim, but you don't have any reason for the claim.
No, he didn't make a claim.
What claim did Arwen make?
Are you deaf?
Are you bugging out, David?
Are you stupid?
What claim did Arwen make? I'm sorry, Nathan.
He didn't make a claim. He said, I don't know. And then you said, well, the ballers have got a claim. So what are you here? Are you like the police here to make sure we've got an equivalent claim to their bullshit? Is that what you're here for, David? To make sure we make a claim where they make one?
No, I just don't think that we need to be making a claim unless we can back...
Well, stop making them then, you stupid retard. What's wrong with you, man? If you think we shouldn't be making claims, stop bloody making them. Stop saying cold will hold in the atmosphere. What's wrong with you?
No, cold is the reason the atmosphere is not gravity. It's because
so you are here to make a little equivalent false bullshit accusation about what the sky is then. Oh, so we do need an equivalence. We do need to make claims, something you've just declared we shouldn't be doing, David. So you're just here to make sure we've got an equivalence with their bullshit claim. Yeah? Because they can't argue us if we just point out where they're wrong. And they need to argue with us so that the argument can continue. Well, we just crap on their argument, David. We point out you can't have a sky vacuum. What's the sky, you say? Well, you asked Darwin. He said, I don't know. And we don't need to make an assertion in that regard to take a big fat giant steaming dump on the heliocentric assertion about what the sky is. And that's precisely what we do. We take a steaming dump on it by pointing out that you can't have gas pressure without a container. Now, your little fundy tip of going around deciding that you're going to make claims about what the sky is just makes you as bad as them, my friend. We're not doing that here. As Arwin made clear, and then you decided to reorganise what he said into him making a claim when he did not. We don't make a claim about what the sky is. We're not so stupid as to claim things about places we've never been. You've never been up there. I've never been up there. And the fundies who claim it's a bloody sky vacuum have never been up there either. But yet they'll still make the claim. We won't, and you will. And that's your purpose here, to make sure that we make a claim where they make one. And I'm tired of it, David. You're just here to make sure we've got an equivalent bullshit claim, so they can pick on our bullshit claim. You don't care how bullshit the claim is, so long as we're making it like you do.
But let me make a claim.
But why is David wrong? He says the higher you go, the colder it gets.
Why is that wrong?
If you want to claim, I can make a simple one. That all matter and energy flows where the least resistance is. In terms of asking about where water will go when you pour it on something, wherever there's least resistance. Same with electricity.
Or a sky vacuum. That's where the gas would want to go.
No, unless it hits the temperature, because it's once you get
him in there, quick! Get your false bullshit equivalent argument in there, eh, David? I've just smashed the globe head assertion of a sky vacuum very calmly, very coolly, very collectedly. And what do? Oh, you come along with a bullshit claim that we should be making, shouldn't we, David? Sod off. Get out. What are you here for?
No, it does away with gravity being the reason we have an atmosphere.
Oh, does it? We've done away with that anyway. There is no such thing as gravity. There's no scientific evidence of that. We deal with that in housekeeping as well. We don't need your retarded buffoonery to deal with gravity. I assure you, this nonsense assertion of what the sky is isn't needed to deal with gravity. You stupid retard. We're not as dumb as you. We can deal with gravity. We can deal with the sky vacuum. We can crap on all of it. We don't need your assertion about what the sky is. We don't need your help, thank you, David.
How about your body temperature? Everything's controlled by temperature.
David.
Oh, time for some random factoids from David the Dickhead. Yeah, we don't care about your random factoids. All we care about is your bullshit assertions from incredulity with no evidence to back them whatsoever.
But the higher you go, the colder it gets, is what he's saying. There's evidence for that, right?
Yeah, that's all right. That's part of his random factoids. So what? He also asserts that the cold is a container for the gas pressure. That's what he asserts. He doesn't demonstrate that. He just keeps rumpusing the living crap out of me when I point out that that's the bullshit claim he needs to be made here. That we all need to know about that bullshit claim he's making. And when I point that out, he starts talking like he just did. Good job I shut these fundies up. The fundy globe head mute button seems to be equally effective for flat earthers when they've got a bullshit claim to make, eh, David? The fundy globe head mute button in full effect, is it, my friend? Talk when I talk, when I destroy the fact that you need to make an assertion that's equivalent to their bullshit assertion about sky vacuums. Yeah, we don't need to do that, David. It's only you that does that. It doesn't fly in the face of gravity, as you've asserted. We do that without this bullshit claim about what the sky is from you.
What is holding this gas pressure in then, Nathan?
Oh, I don't know. We don't know. We don't need to make a claim in that regard. We're not making positive assertions so they can attack them. Yeah, that's what you do, so that you can have a little argument with the globers while they claim it's a vacuum and you claim it's the cold, and you can go back and forth. I take down my pants and just do a poo on the idea of a sky vacuum and leave it at that. I walk away leaving zealots crying. And then when they go, well, what is it then? I go, I don't know. I couldn't care less either. Who cares? What's the sky? I don't know. Who cares? It's not a vacuum though, is it? We don't need you and your bullshit assertion though, do we, David? For me to take that big poo on the fundy belief in sky vacuums.
I'm just looking for answers. That's all.
You're not looking for answers, you lying crap. You're here to make a false assertion that you can't back. That's not looking for answers, that's making an assertion. You're making a positive claim about what the sky is. And we do the same to you, Flat Earth Fundy. You want to make a claim, do you, about what the sky is, having never been there or experienced it or have any scientific validity to your assertions whatsoever? Oh, you want to do that, do you, Fundy? Oh, we take a dump on fundies like you too, Flat Earth Fundy. Yeah? You want to come here making claims about what my sky is? You better back that shit with evidence. You're not asking questions, you're making assertions, you liar.
You're telling me there's gas pressure then. I prove your gas pressure of something I can't even see.
Oh, there's definitely a C, so you take it to the level of absurdity, do you? When I take a dump on their assertion of a sky vacuum, you say, oh, well, you can't even prove there's gas pressure. You take it to the level of absurdity to try and undo this argument. Why are you so keen to undo our demolition of a heliocentric religious belief, David? That's a question.
But we got to make sure we have the right argument.
Oh, we do. You can't have gas pressure without a container, and they assert that it's a lower pressure system. Yeah, that's what they assert. 10 to the minus 17 torr. Much, much lower pressure. And we just say, oh, well, without a container, there can be no pressure, and quote conspiracy cats on their own side. And that basically does away with the argument that you can have a sky vacuum. It's very efficient, it's very effective. It needs no assistance from you, a moron.
Well, I'm not the one making claims without being able to back it either. I don't just make wild claims.
Yes, that's actually exactly what you're doing.
Yeah,
that's exactly what you're doing.
Correct.
I don't know what the hell crack you're smoking, bro, but that's exactly what you've done since you've got here. So for you to now say, oh, I'm not the one making claims, you're out of your mind. You understand that?
You want things that are observable.
What David's saying is all based on observation.
He is out of his mind.
Oh, he's observed an ice dome.
The higher you go, the colder it gets. That's what he's saying.
Excuse me. He's observed a sky ice dome, has he?
Oh, you're the one that.
I was asking somebody else who was speaking on your behalf, David. He says that this is based. Excuse me, David. I'm going to have to kick you out because I'm not talking to you at this moment. It's time for David to leave. He doesn't know when he's not being addressed. Okay. Yeah, I was addressing Was, who made a claim on your behalf that you have actually viewed this, and I'm saying, so he's viewed the ice dome, has he? Was?
I never claimed that.
Excuse me, I wasn't talking to you, my friend. You've made a positive assertion, haven't you? It's time for David to leave. He's very triggered about his assertions that he claims he's not now making. So Was, he's seen it, has he? He's seen this. David, what's your malfunction, mate? I was talking to Was, David. Is it time for you to leave, David? I think it is. Time for David to leave. Bye-bye, David.
David, can you be...
No, he can't. Obviously, he can't.
What's the...
Yeah, David's not part of the conversation anymore. So Was, he's actually looked at this container, the ice-cold container, the temperature differential container that he's asserting holds the gas in. He's seen that, has he? As you just asserted, he's seen all of this that he claims.
But you need something to get cold.
I was talking to Was, who made a positive assertion that he's seen all of what he claims. He hasn't, Was. That's why you're not replying. Yeah. So we don't need to make any fundamentalist assertions about what the sky is, despite what David's desperately attempting to make us all do. Come up with some bullshit story for them to attack. And it's only in recent days that I've figured out their little magic trick. They need us to have an equivalence to their bullshit that they make up. Like a shape. They need us to have a shape, because they've got a shape. And we don't need a shape. We need no shape. But they want to argue about the shape of the Earth now, don't they? I don't need that crap. Just like I don't need a dome. David wants us to have a bullshit made-up dome, though, doesn't he? A cold dome. Well, bollocks to that. I don't know what the sky is. David doesn't know what the sky is. But neither do the fundy zealots who claim it's a globe. But they absolutely claim it's a vacuum, which it can't be. Gas would fill the space.
Well, I will say I don't know if the thermosphere is up there or not. I'll just say that and leave it.
Me too. I'd be interested to find out somehow, but
I was actually trying to do some research while all this was going on, and most everything comes back to NASA. Everything I see so far, some kind of NASA website.
Where's this supposed thermal layer? What height is it supposed to be, roughly?
Hang on, I'll look at it.
Because then we can, go by what we know, what we have confirmed at as far as we can, how high we can go, and then we can determine, okay, does this even seem an attainable height?
If I remember, it was pretty high. I guess it starts at anywhere from 95 to 120 kilometers. I don't know what that trend. Well, here's a graph. I can share this graph. Here, hang on.
So it's claimed to be way higher than anybody's ever actually been, or the claimed documentation, much of which I do agree with. I think people have flown above 100,000, but just when you're talking in meters, that's really high.
Yeah, here's
something like that.
What was
actually,
that?
No, this isn't what I was. Wait a minute, this is not what I was wanting. Sorry. It's not what I was wanting. But they do have this. This is a little. Oh, you probably can't see that on screen. If I can zoom in, I don't know if I can zoom in or not. Oh, there you go. That's what they're saying it is. It's 95 to 120 kilometers. What does that translate into for miles?
It doesn't fit with reality, man.
Divided by 1.5, roughly.
But roughly 75 miles, roughly, looks like.
How many miles? 100 and what?
74.5.
Yeah, it's like 74.5 miles, 120 kilometers, 75 miles, basically, roughly.
So this is a claim about what the sky is, then? I mean, I'm on right-hand side on this. I'm sorry to agree with you. I know occasionally in argument, Quantum Eraser will use their assertion of thermosphere against their own narrative, but I don't know why we're using it as a positive assertion. It's certainly nothing I'd get behind. It's an assertion about what the sky is, basically, isn't it?
No. I'm only trying to gauge if it is potentially attainable information for us by the standards of how high we've come so far. Us confirmed.
Well, I would say
That's
no.
all I'm doing.
I'm going to say no, Arwin, based on what I've read about how high people have gone. I don't think so.
Well, and see something the point I was trying to make.
Sorry, Paul, go on.
The point I was trying to make, even with the temperature issue, is you got the kinetic energy, you got the sun. We know the sun warms the Earth, and heat has to transfer from one location to the other, unless you try to come up with some other way that's occurring. So molecules getting at that high are still being bombarded with heat from the sun. So you're going to have to show that. I mean, ultimately, you'd have to say to me, you'd have to show that temperature does reach to those levels to cause oxygen to recoalesce back into a liquid, or even go down even to a solid.
Yeah, I understood that when you put the argument across. Essentially, you're using his version of the narrative and undoing it with the nature of just a different element, rather than using water all the time. You just used oxygen. Well, kudos. It was an excellent undoing of David's argument in that regard. But you're using their argument, their narrative, which is right the hands issue, which I don't disagree with either.
Oh, so so I was using their argument against them. Is that what you don't do that? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying it's an interesting position when it's David, because he's claiming to be a flat earther. So he's not really asserting much at all. He's just saying, well, the container is the cold, and if you disagree with that or force him into a corner where he has to make that as an actual assertion, ice dome, then he'll say, no, well, we can't even observe gas, it's invisible. How do we know that's even real? In other words, it seems that we've got some moly globe head claiming to be a flat earther who wants us to have a positive assertion about what the sky is so that globers can argue against it, because there's no benefit to arguing that the cold's a container. There's no validity to it either. So what's the point other than to give a false equivalent argument against the sky vacuum argument? There's no benefit to it. And as I kept saying to David, when we're taking a dump on that idea, we don't need to make any positive assertions to rip that a new one, and that's what we're doing. So why come along with a new just so story for us to adhere to and argue about it all day long? Well, it seems very suspect. I say this every time David comes in. I question his motives.
Well, and see, even their argument. Let's say, I mean, I can give them even a little bit of, not that I'm arguing the argument, but basically, temperature is the reduction in kinetic energy. That's basically what it is. So, but if you reduce the kinetic energy through cold, as that particle is basically losing kinetic energy, something has to grab hold of it and pull it back down to put the kinetic energy back into it. You see, so there has to be some force. You have to have a force to do that. So then you're back to what the globers are saying. There has to be some thing that's attracting it and pulling it back down. And cold can't, I mean, cold, the lack of kinetic energy doesn't seem like they can do that to me. It doesn't, it's not logical.
Hold on. There's another effect going on, because as gas gets colder, it also shrinks practically and may attain more density. So that will definitely cause relative density disequilibrium, causing it to displace back down as it's gotten colder. And then until it will warm up, it will retain that density.
But as soon as you get back into other particles that are moving, it's the same thing. It's like you're basically bombarding it with other particles that's creating more kinetic energy again. And you have it's called friction. So then you still have a problem. So I mean, I hear what you're saying, but there's still a problem with it. There still has to be some mechanism, some force that's pulling it back and down this way. In my mind, if you remove, something or stopping the kinetic energy.
I don't see the problem. Relative density. Sorry, I don't see the problem. If the temperature is going to change its density, then relative density disequilibrium will come into being. It's as simple as that.
Well, the other side of the coin, though, on that though, remember part of the bonds that we were talking about earlier. What causes freezing and phase change is those molecules are attracted to each other. So I don't know. I think there's more to it than what they're saying, and they're not really thinking it through. I think. So, and even what you're saying, I'm just like, if they're so smart, if they're spread apart enough, then they may not, they won't come together. It actually says that in the chemistry. If they're too far apart, they can't come back together unless they collide with each other somehow. I don't know. I think there's lots of problems with it as far as I can see. Even the temperature thing.
I don't see it. I really don't see it like that. Look, if the pressure is sufficient and gas that could potentially condensate will get tendencies to do that, it's still going to be dependent on the overall pressure within the container. So if that pressure does not go towards a certain pressure height, like it doesn't increase to a certain amount, then those gases will just not have enough pressure to start liquefying again, and they will remain in their gaseous state despite the temperature change.
So
until the temperature will eventually become so heavy that it might, for example, water might simply just spontaneously freeze from a gaseous state, because freezing can happen even in very low temperatures, or I mean very low pressures, I think. So it all depends. There is definitely a pressure and temperature relation that both of these determine the state of matter in a complicated, not so straightforward way as one would expect at first. Sorry. So yeah, anyway, in order for things to liquefy, there needs to be adequate amount of pressure, or just like with low pressure, liquids start to evaporate. So will they not start recondensating if there is not sufficient pressure, despite any lower temperature? Anyone still there?
Paul maybe has background noise or something. Who knows?
Well, I had the need of a toddler kick in. I had to walk away. Sorry. She kept saying, "Drink, drink, drink." I don't know. I guess I've still got to think about it some more and look at it some more. I just still think there's a problem with the temperature aspect of things. I mean, because then you're technically arguing for their point, Erwin.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, because I keep them separated. I already explained the relation between temperature increase and pressure increase, and the other way around is not interchangeable. One always follows the other, never attains the same height compared to when you switch around the situation. So they are both there, they both have influence, but they are not interchangeable.
I just keep thinking. I mean, as far as I understand, is kinetic energy, and you have for something to not move to go into a solid state or liquid state, that kinetic energy is reduced, and the only way you can stop a particle from moving is it has to be acted upon by a force of some kind.
Yeah, but that's called molecular bonding also.
But you still have the issue.
Look, there's two forces basically supposedly going on in molecules. Those are the molecular bonding, and those are the need to move around. And when the moving around exerts a certain strength, that of the molecular bonding, then it will transit into the other state. That's how it works.
I don't think it's bonded. They're not. I think that's why it's not behaving according to the way people think it's behaving, because it's not
it is. It's
what they say it is.
Molecular bonding. That's a thing, officially.
How is that officially a thing? Because you said it is?
No, that's what I learned in chemistry.
Yeah, and I learned the Earth was a ball in school. That doesn't mean it's right. This is why we need to experiment for ourselves and look at what we can observe and what we can witness and prove, and that's as far as we go. We don't start making assumptions based on what we see. You know, when you see, and again, this is why I'm saying it. When you see water boil and you're going to say, oh, it's particles breaking apart. No, you never saw that. You saw an effect, and you're putting what you've been told to explain that effect, but it doesn't make it correct. It's only an explanation.
What? I didn't even use particles in my explanation. I'm talking about the different states. I'm not even arguing what the matter of it is supposed to be composed of. I'm only explaining the behavior of whatever it's supposed to be. Well, however you conceptualize, it doesn't matter to me. I'm talking about molecular behavior. Whatever they may be.
Molecules. You're saying there are molecular structures that are breaking apart when you heat up water. You don't see that. You observe an effect of water boiling, and then you assume that it's H2O breaking apart.
It's the relational behavior between the matter.
Okay,
and
relations don't prove causation.
You have a volumetric and mass deduction system. Very, very tidy.
Okay, deduction. Yeah, I know you're great at deduction, but that doesn't mean that your deductions are correct. Unless you can prove the effect through a manipulation of the variable, you can't say what's going on. So when you're saying
exactly
that this
what
is
they
breaking,
do with
you don't
chemistry.
see that.
That's how they established the entire
they.
thing.
Who's they? Who's they? Who's these?
Chemists,
the they that
the one that did the experiments to establish
like
how chemistry works
that did the experiments,
using
right?
the scientific method.
Oh yeah, and so when did they prove that? Show me the scientific experiment that showed that water is made up of a bonded atomic-like structure, or molecules bonded together, and those bonds break when you boil it. Can you show me that? Or you can only show me water boiling and what you believe is happening.
That's not the molecules breaking apart into other molecules or atoms. That's not the molecular bonding I'm talking about. That's atomic bonding.
Which molecular bonding are you talking about?
I'm talking about
Can you show me?
the
Show
material
it to me,
bonding, the material, how it bonds with others of its same state. That is what
how do you know what keeps water
bonding.
together? Can you see those bonds with your eyes?
It's very hard having a discussion with you like this.
Why? Because I asked for proof of your claims?
No, because you keep interrupting me halfway every time I talk. And you're not listening. It's not a conversation like this.
I am listening. You keep asserting that there is a bond that breaks. Show that to me.
Bond that breaks. Huh? If you
yeah,
heat
that's what you
something
keep
up,
saying.
it
You keep
expands.
saying a molecular bond
becomes
breaks
less.
that turns water into gas. Show me.
Why would I need go through all of that again? We already gave you examples of how to do that.
No, you gave me an example of water boiling and what you believe is happening based on what you think chemists have done. But you don't have any verification yourself. You have faith in what the chemists have told you. This sounds...
No, I've seen demonstrations myself.
Oh, you've seen a molecular bond breaking apart. So show me that molecular bond breaking apart.
Well, I have seen the transit of liquid into pure gas without any kind of moisture to the side in a very
when
big
did you
glass.
see liquid turn?
If I'll explain the setup, if you let me, okay, right? Okay, so you have a very large, thick glass tube you can look through. There's water inside it. It's being heated. It's completely closed off. It's very sturdy. It can stand a lot of pressure. Eventually, the water starts boiling inside. The pressure goes up. Doesn't really matter. And then it literally just evaporates. It's all gas inside there. And only until you stop the heating of that tube and gets colder again, then it starts to condensated again and turn back into water. So
okay, so you just asserted that bonds broke based on an observation of an effect. Do you not see what you just did there? Here, I'm gonna read back your...
Well, I wasn't
so what
finished.
you did, hold on, what you did was you've seen
water
boil...
Or something else, or...
You've seen water boil through a glass tube, and at a certain point, the water got where you couldn't see it anymore. And then you said, oh, bonds broke apart, turned into a gas. That's what you did, Arwen. You presupposed what happened based on the visual effect of you not being able to see the water anymore.
It seemed almost like there was just the air in it, but it was completely sealed
and it looks
off.
like it, but that doesn't mean
sealed off, so the liquid couldn't have gone anywhere.
It could have turned into microscopic liquid particles. But you don't know that because you're going based on what your eyes see, not what you can prove. So you're just saying, I saw this happen. Chemists tell me that...
How does that work? Microscopic liquid particles?
Bro.
So it just becomes invisible? The water just becomes invisible. Is that it? Turns invisible? Or does it change state? What happens?
Got a video, do you want to see it? I can't play it, but I'll share it in will I share it in Ballbusters or Atom Bomb chat? Do you want me to share it? Master B?
Yeah, sure.
Somebody's got a platinum under the microscope, and you can see it at the atomic level, the individual atoms making up the platinum. There you go.
Oh, so we can see atoms now through a microscope?
That's what it says.
Wait, a picture of it.
It's electromagnetic.
So it's not. It's an image. They send it's a double split.
Don't get triggered. Just go and have a look.
It's an interference pattern. They never took a picture of an actual physical atom. They have an interference pattern that they assume atoms from. That.
Okie doke. I'll just repeat what I've said. Video title is called "Have you ever seen an atom?"
I'm presenting it.
Well, don't play it. Just let it scrub through.
No volume.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. Don't play it. Just scrub through.
Right.
I'll tell you
see
when.
atoms now.
I'll keep going. I'll tell you when. Stop.
This thing?
That's an atom. There it is. We see
No.
Picture.
That's not an atom. That's platinum. Each of those little white dots are an atom.
Oh, how do you know?
Fascinating. Yeah, it like the ball.
How do we? Oh,
I've
how
seen
do we know
things
that?
like this.
How
It's
do we know
very.
that those
I've
white
seen
dots are?
things through one of those.
Let me just answer his question.
Actually live.
Let me just answer his question. Because the man on the video said so.
Oh, there we go. That's all I needed. So we have
I've looked through a telescope like this live.
good enough for I've looked through a telescope.
Microscope.
I've seen cells. I've never seen an atom. So I guess we just have to trust this guy that those are atoms. Okay.
Well,
Good with me. I'll trust.
I've just claimed I looked through a device like this and seen something similar live.
I don't think you got to see it at the atomic level, Arwin. I got to be honest. I doubt you saw it.
Bro, you would need a $1 billion
look
telescope
like
to see an atom, Arwin. Come on.
Well, it was
Get in
very
reality. It
geometrically.
takes millions of dollars to build anything that can get an image of an atom, and that's
It
just
was
an
a
image
very
based on an interference
expensive
pattern.
thing. It
There's
was a
no
very expensive thing, and they were like very paranoid about it being even scratched. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was very
yeah.
expensive.
Okay, so Arwin has seen an atom.
It was as big as my
Is
room.
everybody in chat? Arwin has seen
years ago, probably 20 years ago.
Yeah, years ago. Just like Fight the Flat Earth years ago. Track the thing of Venus. You know.
No, it's just my own experience. That you don't have to believe me.
You're
You
just
know,
making up.
You can
You've never
literally
seen an
think
atom.
everything
Nobody has
I've ever said is a lie. I don't really care.
Arwin, this is why
I've
nobody
seen
takes
through
you
one of
serious.
these things
You say you've seen
live.
an atom. Arwin, this is what. And then this is why I have to come on and just like I can't let this nonsense just get spewed out. Arwin over here saying that Mr. I've seen an atom. I know it's true because they were like
no, that's not what I
being
said.
very fussy about
that's
the
not what I
instrument.
said. I said I looked through one of those
how he knows the
telescopes,
instrument
an
was real
telescope that supposedly saw atoms. And I can't
supposedly
absolutely confirm it. Can you goddamn let anyone ever finish a sentence?
Supposedly is a lot different than I did.
Can you ever let anybody finish a sentence? You freak!
Jeez. Nathan, you can share my screen. I've got some pictures
Hold
too.
on, let Arwin actually finish his sentence first, Paul.
A lot of triggering right here, boys. What's going on?
You don't shut up. Why do you think I get triggered, you asshole?
Did you want to finish your statement, Arwin?
I just got here, bro.
Right. I looked through one of those things live. It showed something live. They literally exchanged the thing perceived on the spot. And I thought it was very convincing.
Could it have been a molecule
it
you're
was
looking
still
at?
very much explained to be a deduction-based system, like a scan. And that was the geometry that came out of it. And it was different per matter. Was different sizes and all that. It was very mysterious. I don't know what it was, but I have.
But he doesn't know. But it was an atom.
So,
he doesn't know what
and
it
I don't
was.
claim
but it was an atom.
that I'm literally seeing an atom.
This
it
is why you're a joke.
Okay, thank
takes
you.
Serious.
It wasn't through.
Okay, right. Right the hand. You get the last word, then Paul.
Flip flopping back and forth.
Do you want to have a last word? Right the hand or not?
Nah, Darwin said enough. He flip flopped from he's seen an atom to he's seen something that may be an atom.
Asshole, I didn't.
So good.
Okay. Okay, Paul, you're presenting.
Well, this is from Science, and this is real space identification of intermolecular bond with atomic force microscope. So these are photos over here to the left.
Is that related to the Hubble?
Kind of like that black hole, huh?
Is this telescope related to the Hubble?
Okay. I'm just showing a scientific research.
No, you're showing pictures. You're showing images. These are images. This is not research. This is images.
Yeah, it's images. He's just showing images.
Are you showing scientific research or
image? So there's a black hole, right? Right?
Okay, so it's just image. There's images of a black hole too. Does that mean black holes are real? There's images of Earth from space. Does that mean Earth from space is real, Paul? Paul, do you not see how twice today
that's their logic.
you've defaulted
guys,
to
before you poo-poo all over it, can you just let him actually say what he's going to say before you crap over the first sentence? Thanks.
Well, why do we? But we take a crap
just
when
save
they,
your
they take
objections
pictures
to the
from
end.
Narnia. Okay,
Just
so if the
save
medium that the
your
pictures are from space, why are we going to let
We will not shut
You
up.
let the ballers continue on with their space bullshit before you stop them and say there is no space?
We've heard that 5,000 times, though, haven't we?
fucking
Hold on. We've heard that 5,000 times on this show. So this is different. This is not something we've heard a million times. I'd just like to hear what Paul's actually got to say. What's wrong with that? Go ahead, Paul.
I mean, I really wasn't going to say much about it. It's just it's a source. It's a scientific. It says Science and Science Magazine, so it's a magazine about science. And these are I don't know the validity of the source. I'm not digging any deeper than just showing what I see. Okay, so you can dump all over me all you want, but I'm just showing these are people that have done. We're gonna have to, I guess, say that these people aren't credible at some level. Prove that these people that have wrote these articles are not credible. So I'm not saying I'm credible. I haven't verified their credibility or not because I haven't looked at this. I am just showing you pictures that I found that they show they have a diagram what a particle looks like, and then they have pictures how they produced them. I'm not running any deeper than that they show. They look very similar to the diagram.
That would be my next question, Paul. How are they? Sorry, we'll let you in, Anon, I promise. How are they produced? That would be my first question. What was the apparatus? Can it be reproduced by us? How did they do it? I'm not asking you to answer. I know you don't know. Go ahead.
I don't know. I just found them.
I understand. So did I, and I gave the same answer. The man in the video said so. Go ahead, Anon. Was it Anon or was it someone else?
There's a major double standard here, and there's just glaring, obviously, to a lot of people, I hope. Because, when it comes to certain things, we go bullshit, and then when it comes to other things, we're going to and quoting molecular physicists and telling us that there's a bond.
There is one difference, though, Anon. There's one difference, though. There is. There's one difference. Chemistry is a true science. You can do scientific method with chemistry. Black holes in space is pseudoscience, so you can't do that.
So with chemistry, you can do certain things, but you can say this compound and this compound do this. This is the effect. This is what happens. But as far as why it's going on, you can have multiple different answers. You can have multiple different ways of understanding.
He just said.
Examine the chemical reaction.
Hold on. Let me just clarify what Paul just said. No, what he said was, in chemistry, you can adhere to the scientific method. I'm paraphrasing. Right, that's what he said. Now you're saying, well, no, you can observe effects and then make up a just so story. That's not what he said. You can adhere to the scientific method in chemistry. Observe a phenomena, establish the cause, formulate hypothesis, execute systematic experimentation. All of those things can be done in chemistry and are. And scientific validity is given. Oh, God.
So you can say that heat will melt the ice, right? You can say that. And you can say, it's because of the molecular bonds are now weak. Or you can say there's unicorns farting everywhere and it's making everything hot. I mean, you can come up with many different quote-unquote causes of what's happening, but you don't know that. You do know if you heat it, it turns into this state. And then you can create a just so story of what the hell is going on molecularly, atomically, and just make it up as you go. That's my point.
Well,
I agree. That's my point.
It's not made up. I mean, I don't know. I can't give the explanation that Quantum Eraser gave in terms of transitions between phases. I can't do that. Doesn't mean that what's been discussed literally only a few days ago on Ballbusters is complete horseshit if none of you even understand what is being explained.
But don't say we don't understand it. That's what ballers do. Ballers tell us we don't understand gravity.
Really? What's delta G negative? No worries, let's test that. What's delta G negative? Please, right hand.
What's
that
the
is
fabric of space
that,
time? Right? Tell me.
Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish.
That
is a term you are parroting. You don't know anything about delta G. You don't know about light. You don't know. Show me what you have done to prove what light is.
So now we're being told what I don't understand. My claim that there's been an explanation for it within the context of the second law of thermodynamics on Ballbusters on Sunday, just gone. Simply because you, like most people, don't understand the explanation given doesn't mean it's incorrect. And to just turn around and say, well, I don't understand it. I've asked you a very specific question. I've asked loads of people this question so far, right at the hand. And it's a very quick way of establishing whether or not someone understands what was being discussed. Simple question. If you know the answer, you'd give it me. As many people in chat have given me. When I go, am I amongst the 99% that don't understand this? and then one person will say, no, I understand it fully, and I ask them, what's delta G negative mean? And they tell me, and I know they understand. Now, that's a small percentage of people.
Okay, wait. Hold on. If you say, what is X, and somebody regurgitates what they heard before, that's not understanding. That's regurgitating and parroting information. Understanding is when you can explain in layman's terms to somebody that doesn't know what it is. So when you try and explain light, but then use, oh, well, you don't know. Hold on. When you, Larwin. When you try and say that somebody doesn't understand, no, that's your lack of ability to show the person what is actually happening, and you hide behind you don't understand photons and atoms and molecular bonds because you can't show it.
No, I don't make any claims in that regard. I've already said this at the beginning of the show with yourself personally. I told you, I don't make any claims in terms of phase transition changes, because I don't need to. I'm not making any positive assertions in that regard. I can talk about gas and what it does, and easily back my claims. So,
but you can't talk about what the gas is made of.
I haven't quite finished. Bear with me. So, in regards to this particular discussion, who cares? What's the claim being made?
The claim is what is happening to the water at the level that we cannot physically observe.
That's a question.
The claim that
That's a
is
question.
being pushed.
That's a question. That's not a claim. Who cares? Does that affect anything to do with what we discuss here?
Well, when you say that water is, the particles are speeding up where they break and blast off, yes, you're not observing that.
No.
So you can't
that's
say
not
that's
my claim. That's not my claim.
Nathan?
That's not my claim. That is not what I state. You're confusing an argument with David, where he starts getting into the nitty-gritty of phase transitions, and I tell him too, I'm not talking about phase transitions. Same with Spurs when he starts equivocating. Talking about ice when we're talking about gas. Different things and using the same words to describe something that we're not on the same page with. I specifically talk about gas, not about any phase transitions whatsoever. But that argument's been dragged in by Spurs and David, and now suddenly I'm making positive claims. No, I don't make any claims in that regard. Who cares? This is inconsequential. In other words, it matters not if I or you understand what delta G negative is. It means nothing to us, because does it matter? Does it affect our day-to-day life if we understand how phase transitions work? No, because we're not making any claims. You can ask any question you like, and I'm sure it's very interesting to get an answer. If you're on good terms with QE, I'm sure he'd boil it down to layman's terms for you. But when I've asked him to, he's gone, you don't really need to know. Who cares? What's the claim being made? He's used it to pummel Professor Dave because he made an assertion in regards to creation and second law of thermodynamics, and he pummeled him using a detailed explanation when he used ice, Professor Dave. But that's contextualised. It was for him specifically. It was addressing him in a debunking. Do I need to make any claims in that regard? No. Am I making any claims in that regard? No. Is Dave and Spurs? Yeah. Yeah, I'll pummel them all day long.
Yeah, I spoke to Spurs, and his claim is not as crazy as it was made out. He was trying to say what I was trying to say earlier, is that you don't turn water into a gas, you just turn it into steam, which is water droplets. So when you were saying in the sauna, that is proof of the bouncing particles, it's not. A sauna is fog. That's water droplets. You never saw water in a gas form. You only saw water as steam.
Water droplets?
It's small water droplets.
Water droplets just float around?
I think I understand where the confusion is. Just because it's water in all three states, just because it's water, you're under the assumption that somehow it breaks apart what it's described on a molecular level as hydrogen and two oxygens, and somehow those bonds become broken, when in reality, all that's happening is you're not connecting each of those together. Whatever they may be, I'm not going to even make a claim in that regard because it's not needed. Because gas, steam,
but how do we know it's even a bond?
Gas.
How do we know there's not something else? How do we know it's a bonded molecular structure?
Because it's not like ice where you unfortunately have to push against it and you can't walk through it, or water where it creates a resistance, but you can part the weak bonds. Well, gas isn't like that, is it?
Well, you can walk through water. It's just harder. So you can walk through air. It's just easier. Hold on. It doesn't mean that the bonds have see. And this is like we never see a bond breaking. We see water, we see vapor, and then there's air. Like this air could be something different. It could be we don't know. When you say that air is made up of 5 homogeneous gases, no, that's a unverified claim that the ball earthers push. Okay, do you understand that?
All that inhomogeneous anisotropic means is mixed up. Yeah, not collimated. Not layers, as they describe it. It's a mixture. That's all that means. Are you going to tell me that no, you've got this nice, neat layer of oxygen?
No, I'm saying there's no oxygen. It's just water in a super thin form.
That's just horseshit. Well, you're implying that oxygen, when binded to hydrogen, is somehow becoming the air because it's losing that connection that you then want to argue against, even though we're not making a claim against it. This is so roundabout the Rican, it's unreal.
Your entire model is based on atoms, electrons, and tiny little bouncing particles.
No, you've made a claim that I don't watch water break its bonds. Yeah, I do. Yeah, watch. If I put a pan of water on, I can watch little bubbles appear and then stuff break off. Literally into the air and go in all directions. So you're saying I can't observe that? Yeah, I can. I can observe exactly that happening in water just by applying heat. And I watch the bonds break and it go in all directions. It's as simple as that. I can observe that.
You don't see bonds.
Yeah, it's bonded. It's water, liquid, held together. It's all in one place together. In the container I put it in when I filled it from the faucet, when I filled the pan.
Bond is a description.
Then I apply heat and watch the bonds break, and it leaves the pan. It's no longer bonded.
Bonds break. You watch water boil.
Water boil. Another way of saying it going from all bonded in the same place together, connected in the pan as water, liquid, bonded together as one, to no longer being as one and being separate, unbonded. I watch that visually happening every time I boil water.
No, you watch water boil.
Yeah, I watch it boil and then I watch the vapor come off.
So, Nathan, let me try.
And there you go. And
so,
okay, you watch.
Yeah, it goes from being bonded to unbonded. Bonded in the pan and stuck together. Unbonded in the air. No longer bonded to the rest of the water. Unbonded.
Water turn into steam, which is water droplets.
Yeah, unbonded to the rest of the water.
I would like to see this model of your world where there is no gas and everything is water droplets.
Steam is water droplets now? Steam is not a gas.
Steam is water droplets. Yeah, steam is just liquid water.
Have gases. It's just all water droplets. It's just micro droplets moving around apparently now.
Because I thought water droplets were liquid.
Water droplets, as in rain, is liquid, condensed gas.
That's what I thought.
Right? Whereas, if you've got water vapor, it's still gas. Unbonded, not a droplet. It's still water just in its gaseous state. I'm teaching this to my 2-year-old. I can't quite believe we're having these conversations.
Yeah, bugged out. Just like how somebody teaches their 2-year-old about gravity. I get that. But listen, I'm reading it from...
Are you planning to...
No, I'm not going to stand for that.
It's a superheated liquid. Steam is
why is it that I've been levelled at that? No, it's not like teaching a child about gravity. Not at all. When I can physically sit her on the edge of the counter, apply heat to water, watch the bonds break, as I'm being told doesn't happen, it's just water boiling. Yeah, the bonds breaking, it no longer being in the pan. Eventually, the entirety of the water will have no bonds at all, and there'll be none in the pan. It'll have all broken its bonds and all dissipate into the air if I leave it on that heat long enough. I'm watching the bonds disappear before my very eyes, and I'm teaching my kid that's called evaporation and condensation, and I'm doing it with a visual demonstration in front of her. Yet I'm told that that's me showing someone in the same vein as a kid learning about gravity. No, it's not.
So water vapor, I'm just going to read this right here. Water vapor is little water droplets that exist in air. That's it. Tiny
so you see
droplets.
Water droplets. You don't see see gaseous water. You see small liquid particles when you see steam.
That's called humidity. The amount
No.
of
Water vapor. I'm reading it. Water
suspended.
vapor is little water droplets.
Yeah,
That's the sentence.
droplets of water as a liquid. Is that what you're talking about? In other words, slightly longer and a small amount of them with bonds. Yeah, the air can suspend a certain amount of them, you know. They measure it in percentages. It's amazing how little you guys know about the air that we're actually existing in.
So measurements prove causation now?
No, experience of it though. When you're saturated, when you're out in the Far East and you're absolutely saturated in 100% humidity because there's water in the air to the maximum suspension that the air will allow. Yeah, I've experienced that firsthand. I didn't just fantasize it. I was just really wet everywhere I went because there was lots of water in the air.
I'm sitting down on a chair and I can feel gravity. I mean, I can feel it.
No, you didn't.
The hypocrisy is so staggering.
What
it is.
Crock of
It
crap.
is.
Equivocating me sitting down to me being soaking wet in 100% humidity, like those two things, the same thing. I sit down and go, "Oh, I've just experienced gravity," and that's the same as me being soaking wet through being in humid conditions.
Yes.
No.
Water vapor condensing, you can then see the water droplets. The water vapor, steam, all invisible, all is a gas. All right, let's get this straight right off the bat here, because that's the problem.
Comes to something when the globe has got to agree with normality. Yes, Zanik.
It's crazy that Zanik just made more sense than Right the Hand and Anon. I don't even believe this shit.
I know. I'm sorry.
Maybe you guys are on the wrong.
That's when Brenda.
Maybe when you're on Zanik's side, you're on the
same
wrong
way.
side.
When Brenda starts defending you about quantum mechanics, I feel the exact same way.
We're not arguing about quantum mechanics here. We're arguing about evaporation. This is absolutely absurd. Yeah, this is definitely not the level of double slit. Yeah, talking about bloody boiling water and it turning into a vapour, otherwise known as gas. Yeah, that definitely is not on the level of quantum mechanics and on.
Yeah,
I'm on the exact same size as
the
Nathan.
definition of droplet is a very small drop of a liquid.
Correct.
If you ever see water,
Right.
it is condensed.
So
it is condensed and is H2O.
So how
water
is
vapor
steam?
is
So how is steam or vapor a droplet if it's not liquid?
They're not. They're both
I know
invisible,
they're
both
not, but
gases.
I'm asking
The
Anon and Right the Hand because I feel crazy right now. What the hell's going
How
on
do you
here?
see steam then? How do you see
You don't
steam?
see
as if it's-
steam. You see
Oh,
the
so what is
condensation.
coming out of my kettle? What's coming out of my kettle?
Let me explain. You see
And that's-
condensation of the steam.
No, that's what you
droplets
think.
based on-
You think that. You think
No,
that.
Oh
see
God!
that.
Can you just? He's only just joined the conversation, right? Can we just hear Zanik's
You
2
can
pence?
steam up and you can get a glass of water out of it.
Start again,
You can
Zanik.
see it, and you can see it.
Proves that it's water.
You can accumulate steam that is condensed into water droplets, and you can get a glass of water
No,
out of
you
it.
accumulate droplets of water
You're
into one
so
big
ignorant on so many topics. I
water.
can't even believe it.
I know you have to. I know you have to attack.
No,
me. You
I'm
can
just
take
saying,
a whole
you're
bunch
not
of drops
thinking.
of
Go
water.
look it up.
Hold on. You can. I know. You can take a whole bunch of drops of water and make a cup of water.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah, you can. Yeah, amazing, isn't it?
Yes,
that's it.
Okay,
Exactly.
and so when you take steam, you're not collecting gas. You're collecting a lot of little droplets of
you're
water.
not understanding the definition. I know what you're saying. Hold on, right
Is
hand.
that,
I know what you're
is that
saying.
steam in the form of a droplet? Or is that steam in the form of a gas?
You're seeing
I
the
think
water
I-
droplets
no, you
that have
think
condensed.
Water droplet.
Ah,
So-
God, can we
so the
stop,
steam that's
chocolate?
coming
Everyone
out of
else,
a
hold
kettle-
on.
You
I
cannot
just
see
want to
a
hear
vapor.
Zanik.
You cannot
Just
see a
Zanik.
vapor.
Start again, Zanik. That was all rumpus. Go ahead.
You cannot see a vapor. You can see the vapor that is condensed into water droplets, and that can fill your glass with water, with liquid water. The things you see, the water vapor you think you see, or the steam you see, are condensed water. That's water that has been condensed from the vapor.
Okay, I disagree, and I'm going to say
Disagree all you want. Go do some research on it.
Yeah, it's not really an agree-disagree situation. He's absolutely right. I mean, for clarity, the other day when speaking to Spurs, I equivocated, and Zanik's absolutely correct, where technically you could accuse me of being wrong, because I said you can see the steam. And yeah, I know that it's incorrect. It's just a way of giving an example where you can see it. It's a useful way of visualizing it. But in technical terms, Zanik's absolutely right. Yeah, it's the actual water condensed into little droplets and how much the air can suspend of it when it bounces off the air particles in the air that are also invisible. It still bounces off them.
now that's the assumption. There's the assumption.
Not really. I definitely experienced humidity before. It's the amount of water, actual water, liquid water, suspended as droplets in the air at a certain percentage. And when it's at 100%, believe me, I know about that. That's not an assumption. I've experienced it. The amount of water suspended in the invisible particles that some people deny are in the air that we breathe.
How do you know it's not just the water particles that...
I just got very, very wet when I went outside for no particular reason, even though I couldn't see any water in the air. It was amazing. You just suddenly get saturated and your nice suit's all crinkly and wet.
No, because there is water in the air, because air is water. So when you boil steam, okay, and you see the steam, Zanuck will say you're seeing air in the water condensing to the thing. I say you see a superheated liquid, which is steam. Now, we are both just looking at an effect, and this is why you can't prove causation from the observation of an effect.
Wait, what you're saying is air absorbing water to saturation point. You're saying condensed water. When you say steam, like superheated steam, it's a colorless gas, and that burns you a lot worse than steam that you can actually see.
It doesn't, dude, it's just, you're seeing, okay, that was totally irrelevant to the fact that...
It was absolutely pertinent and spot on and correct.
It was just a difference in temperature, that's it.
Why would your hand wave dismiss that right, the hand? I don't understand it, that was pertinent.
One of them will burn you and one of them doesn't.
Hold on. Because you're not observing you don't know that you're observing air condensating onto the water. You just see steam.
Then you see a massive burn. So you don't see any vapor condensing because let's say there's not enough dust in the air or whatever it is that it's condensing around to form those little particles that you see coming out of your kettle. There's nothing. You just see a pan with a tiny bit of water going nuts. Then you put your hand above it, and what do you know? It burns you. It leaves what's called a scald from steam.
Yeah, that's from the heat underneath. That's from the heat underneath the, what's it called? The fire.
No, that would be a burn. It's a very particular type of burn called a scald. That's what you get from steam.
Hold on.
Not. You can vent steam through a tube, and it can burn the hell out of you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It will scald you.
This is why...
Maybe it scolds you as water droplets.
A scald
water
is a
can
scald.
get hot.
Yeah. Bingo.
It's heat.
Bingo. We have a winner.
You get it. Finally.
Yeah, it can scald you.
You're observing...
I was actually being
that
sarcastic.
doesn't mean that it's...
I know, but what you said is what we're trying to say. It's little tiny water droplets will burn you when they're hot. Correct. And if they're little
Right,
bit,
even though droplet means a drop of liquid, right?
Yes.
Even though droplet is liquid.
That's what it is. It's a drop of...
Vapor is not a liquid. Steam is not a liquid, but droplet is a liquid. But droplets are steam now. So,
one of them is condensed, and the other one is not.
Steam is lots of water droplets.
No, it's not. No, it's not at all. You have that completely.
I just read it to you from Quora. This is
okay. Hey, if you guys
vapor.
want to side with Zanuck on this one,
Yes, we definitely want to side with Zanuck on this one because Zanuck is correct. Yes, water when when heated up will turn into steam, invisible, a gas. He's right.
No, you can see steam.
No, you can't see steam.
Yeah, you can. It's whitish. I see it all the time. I see it coming out of my kettle.
4 phases of water now?
I see it coming off the
Are there?
kettle.
Hold on.
Now you're going to assume air particles.
Right to hand.
Assume the air particles so that you can have the water condensing
Right to
around
hand.
it. That's what you have to do.
Are there
You have to
4
assume
phases
air
of water
particles so you can make water.
You've invented the 4th phase. You've given us the 4th phase.
No, I've not.
Yes,
I've just
you
said
have.
that.
No, there's water. Look, there's liquid.
Water droplets.
There's a solid, there's a liquid, and there's a gas. That's it.
Yeah, water droplets is a liquid. Zanuck, water droplets is a liquid.
No,
okay, do
yes.
you understand? Okay, yes. So I'm not inventing a new one. I'm just saying it's a liquid, right?
Right.
Okay, so when you said I invented a 4th one, you were lying or stupid or wrong. One of those, right?
No,
okay, so what was
You're actually not really
so
inventing a new one. You're actually combining 2 of them into one.
What 4th one did I
as a liquid.
invent? Zanuck, what 4th one did I invent?
The hybrid, steam.
You said I invented a 4th one.
Hybrid.
Oh, so a
Steam
hybrid.
is a liquid.
A hybrid.
Steam is a
So
liquid.
I said it's a. So so I said steam is a liquid and a gas. I said that,
Yes.
or I said it's a.
Yeah,
Yes,
you said
you
a
can see it.
droplet.
Okay,
You
cool.
said the steam, a
Can you quote
droplet
me on
is just
that? Can
liquid
you-
water. So yeah, I think both chocolate
Yeah,
and Zanik are right. So
it's-
Zanik's saying that you've made
Look,
a new one.
problem
There's
you're
a
problem
hybrid
having
between the
is
two,
that the
and chocolate
steam
saying you've
invisible.
you've made the two the same. So they're both
Do you know
right.
do you know how water condenses? Do you know how steam condenses into water? Do you understand that process? Do you
observe, Zanik?
You understand how water vapor can turn into a liquid?
You observe an effect. You observe an effect, and from what you've been told, you think you know what's happening.
No, I can give you a test. You can test it yourself too. The fact that
You can observe an effect. You will never say what's happening.
You can.
He hasn't said it yet. Go ahead,
only
Zanik.
observe the effect. Now, when you try
Let
and
him
tell
say
me
it. I want to hear what
why
Zanik's
it's
got to
happening
say.
based on the visualization
If I
of the
have
effect,
if I have 100, if I have 99%,
Hold on, Zanik. Right the hand. Can you just let Zanik say it
Let me give you a
unimpeded?
quick example. A quick example. So if I have a 99% humid air, water vapor, all right, 99% saturated with water, and I put it on a fan, and I have this water heated to 210 degrees, and I blow it on you, will it burn your skin?
Yeah, you have heat that you're sending my way. Why would it not
Really?
burn?
If I
You
stick
have
my
a
hand
heat
in
source.
the oven, if I stick my hand in a 210 degree oven that has 99% humidity, am I going to burn my hand?
Okay.
No.
Does
I'll
humidity
answer
burn
for
your
you.
hand,
Not-
or does heat
just
burn?
think
Does
it's
hold
wrong.
on. Does heat? Hold on, Zanik. Slow down. Slow down. Take your meds. Does humidity? Hold on. I'm talking. Can you not interrupt?
Go ahead.
Does humidity? Don't tell me to go ahead. Just don't talk. Does humidity burn or does heat burn?
The heat burns.
Okay, good. So if you stuck your head in an oven that was humid, you wouldn't expect to get burned, would you?
No.
Okay, and if you took a superheated liquid and threw it on somebody, would you expect them to get burned?
Of course.
Okay, so are you just stupid when you ask these questions, or are you just retarded in general?
The example. So
He answered every single question concisely, and now you're calling him stupid. You haven't made a point at the end of it, right the hand. You need to actually make a point.
Whoa.
I will. Let me finish, and you can take your own advice and just quiet down. So now, if I have steam, which has water vapor, water droplets in it, right? That's the stuff you can see. And I spray you with steam. Are you going to get burned with 210 degree steam with water vapor?
How did you turn the water into steam?
I boiled it, and I have steam.
Oh, and so you applied energy.
Same temperature.
So
nope,
are you
same
burning
energy.
me? Hold on, Zanik. Will you just shut up?
God, you're impossible.
Did you burn me with or did you burn me with the energy you applied into the?
I burned you with the water that had the energy.
No, so the water was the medium for the energy.
Right, we burn you via conduction.
Okay, so
There is
the energy
conduction.
has
We
nothing
conducted-
to. Okay, hold on. So the energy and heat has nothing to do with states of with me and with humidity. So energy and humidity are not related, and they don't really have a place in a conversation.
You don't think you can have 210 degree water vapor without steam?
Okay, but that's
Without
energy.
steam. Hold on.
That's
hold
energy
on.
applied.
Without steam. Do you know what steam is? Do you know why steam forms?
No, you're good. We just see now. You're just
No,
going
you
to
seem like you don't
forget.
understand.
Hold, you're
I
interrupting.
seem like you
You're
don't. I'm not
interrupting.
representing. You seem like you don't.
Just go.
You seem like you don't understand because you don't understand the difference between steam and water vapor, or water droplets rather. Water droplets that you see are different than the steam itself. The steam.
Now you're going to assert that the steam is condensing around the water in the air and not the water turning
We
into
can
steam,
measure
right? That's what you're telling me.
99% humidity.
Okay, now
Air.
does
You can't
measurements
see.
prove?
Hold on.
That's a
Does
glaring double
does
speak.
measurements prove cold?
What's that?
Do
That's a glaring
measurements
double
prove
speak.
cold?
They don't prove causation.
Okay, so why are you bringing up a measurement to prove what you're trying to tell me is what's happening?
Because it's one of the independent variables.
No.
Okay, so
hold on. That's
so
a
you
straw man.
say
He's not
measurements-
trying to prove a causal relationship, right? When you're observing the bloody obvious, There is no necessity.
Well,
you
no,
can.
he's trying
Just let me
to
finish.
prove
Just
the
let me
cause
finish.
is
Just
the
let me
air
finish.
condensing,
You're not
not the
trying to
steam
establish the
being produced from the
cause
water. Do you not
of
see-
the steam. That's not what's happening here. Zanuck isn't trying to assert a causal relationship. He's not saying the reason we get the steam is because. That's not what he's asserting. But by describing the observably bloody obvious, he doesn't have to do it with superheated gases. You could just do it with a puddle. Standing in a puddle while the daylight is in effect and watch it disappear. You're not going to have steam that you're describing, the water droplets that are visually obvious when you have superheated water and some of it's condensing in the air itself into droplets that you can visually see. A puddle will evaporate with very low amounts of energy on the surface, which is nice and wide, and turn into an invisible gas and vanish completely. It won't burn you. There won't be any heat that's going to burn you from the invisible gas, but it definitely disappears.
Okay, wait, hold on. You're saying it's invisible. So how about when I look?
Yeah, it was a puddle, and you could see it bonded together and jump in it, and it would stay nice and bonded. But then what do you know? You stand in the same puddle for an entire day, and by the end of the day, it's gone. It's vanished. It's now completely invisible.
Yeah.
It's no longer
Okay,
there.
hold on. Let me explain
What did
something.
that prove?
It will
What
turn
did that prove?
into
The puddle.
Hold on, let
the
me
puddle
finish.
disappeared.
Please let me talk.
It proved that it vanished.
Right.
It disappeared. It completely went away. It went invisible. How many other ways of describing what it did do you want? It turned into an invisible gas.
I want you to tell me what it proved.
It proves that it's a gas.
When I blast you,
It proves water disappears.
Yeah, into gas.
It proved that the water disappeared via tiny, very slow release of water droplets, and they left and went to the sky. If there's one, if the
And they're so small.
How is liquid going up into the sky, Anon?
Because it's less dense.
What do you think rain is? So
rain's going upwards according to right.
Rain goes up now.
No, that's after it condenses and cools down.
And turns into what?
Water droplets.
How did the water get
Oh,
up
so
there?
it was already
How did it
water.
get
It
up
was
there?
already liquid water,
let me
and
tell
it
him.
changes
Yes.
into a droplet, which is water.
Are you
kidding, Anon?
No, the temperature
Correct?
and the pressure. Hold on.
Yeah, rain doesn't go upwards.
Hey,
I'm
listen.
sorry.
Hold on.
I'm trying,
You're
man,
preaching
but-
the. Hold on. Remember how we talked about pressure difference is determined by temperature? Remember the pipe? Yeah. So the pressure difference and the temperature difference changes the density, and then it starts falling down. Ta-da!
And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who've tuned in on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Obviously, a massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this debate possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!